this.
All right, well, we might as well get going on that. Hey everybody, welcome to a relatively jam-packed episode of the Phantom Zone, where we're going to be discussing the Snyder cut of Justice League.
This will be a 4-hour podcast.
This podcast is more diverse than the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
Oh,
damn!
Wow.
It's
Actually,
not inaccurate.
It's not inaccurate at all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to be hopefully the ringleader of this madness this evening. I'm Eric Fedorchak. Who else is here with me?
I am Connor Mother McGraw.
I am Arlen. I have no bit for this. I'm here. That's what you get from me. So yeah.
I'm Lou Gonzalez, and
What?
You motherfucker.
I know that.
You fucking dickhead. I fucking hate you so much right now.
I don't know if it came out good.
Did you really think he wouldn't do it though, Connor?
Yeah.
Did you really?
All right, and let's
It was a matter of time.
our other two people introduce themselves, please. No, I'm just gonna be quiet, Andy.
I'm Izza, aka Isaiah, and fuck the world, which is my favorite Cyborg line.
Cut my life into 4 hours. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. This is 434, no reason.
Perfect. And I
What's up?
totally,
I'm Andy Seitz.
very good. And I totally forgot I meant to say that I'm Eric Fedorchak and my pockets are full of hot dogs.
pocket dogs.
So I guess the easiest way to get this going is everybody take, I don't know, like let's say 3 or 4 minutes each and say what you thought of the movie. So who wants to start?
Ooh.
Could I start because
Yeah.
I don't have it too much. I can give it really short. So, seeing the original cut, I didn't like the Justice League movie. I was like, it's pretty bad.
Mhm.
And there's even like the cast in general I like, but everything like the directing and like a lot of shit was pretty bad. But then like seeing this one, I didn't know what the fuck to expect, and I was just like, I'm sure it's gonna be better than the other one, but I wasn't still like expecting it to be good. But like I was surprised. Like I actually think it's a solid movie, and it's actually like I don't know, it's actually a good movie, and I actually enjoyed it, which I wasn't expecting. And
Okay.
it's like a lot of cool shit in this movie. And it's actually kind of like was worth waiting for, I guess. But yeah, it's a pretty good movie, and I didn't know it was gonna be.
That's a pretty succinct summary of what you thought of it.
Still a lot of
what's-
ridiculous, like smaller things I could say, but I'll wait for later.
Yeah, we can get into the nitty gritty.
The full autopsy's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do mine pretty short.
Yeah.
It's better than the regular theatrical cut, which I had almost no memories of. And if I was Ray Fisher, I would be just as fucking pissed. Like
Yes.
it's insane. Like it is basically a Cyborg movie.
Yeah.
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 It's still like it's Snyder's where it's Snyder's, but yeah, like the fact that this whole was cut, it astounds me. Like I'm speechless over it. And that's kind of where I'm at with the movie.
Yeah, it's like an entire chapter discussion itself, just like the whole Ray Fisher
Mhm.
thing in Cyborg.
Who wants next?
I'll go. Again, I went into this trying to be like, I mean, I've seen Zack Snyder fail plenty of times. He could easily do it now. Also, like my feelings about the 2017 release are pretty known. I'm pretty hostile towards that movie now, and I'm pretty hostile towards the process in which that movie came out and all the information we got afterwards, especially the stuff that happened to Zack personally. So I was really hoping this movie would be at the very least like okay. And at various points, I had very genuine emotional reactions to stuff happening on screen, and I couldn't believe it kept my attention for I did the full fucking 4 hours in one sitting.
You're a masochist.
No. No.
You're a
You
maniac.
didn't go to the bathroom to empty your boom tube?
I didn't get up. I didn't get up once. Like I beat the fucking end game. I had to get up at some point to piss. Like this, I didn't move.
Yeah.
And then I walked away. Like some of that didn't work, but all the shit that did, I really enjoyed. So yeah, I had a really good time.
Fair enough. Arlen, do you want to go?
Yeah. It
Everyone has that emotion right now.
It's weird. It's kind of caused me to like reframe a lot of how I feel about Zack as a director, about Warner Brothers at that time as a studio. I echo a lot of what you guys have already said. I was very surprised by just how much of this movie I really, really enjoyed. And yeah, it's a very interesting experience. It's very rare that you actually get to see an assembly cut. It's extremely rare, and actually seeing one was interesting in from a scholarly perspective. But as we'll talk about, I'm sure today, you see the reasons why you usually never see them. Very clear in this movie. So yeah, I think that's a good place for me to give it to Andy, I think, who would be.
Before Andy goes, I want to get this in real fast because Joe was supposed to be on here, but something came up. Joe from Movie Dumpster. Joe from Movie Dumpster has no built-in DC fandom whatsoever and did not see the 2017 version and was just trying to jump into this because he was like, it sounds like it could be an interesting experience. And he loved this. So yeah. I think that's a pretty interesting perspective.
Can I ask one question about that?
Yes.
So he has no DC fandom. No, this guy don't like Batman?
Like that's it. Like that's it. It's
Okay,
surface level at best. Like he has no long-term interest in DC outside of like Batman, like the occasional Superman thing. That's it.
Okay. I was gonna say, if you like Batman,
and I have been forcing fandom onto him for 4 years now. So.
Yeah, if you listen to the Green Lantern episode that I was on with Movie Dumpster, you get a sense for that. He has no attachment to Green Lantern, and he maybe was the most positive of everybody when we were talking about that catastrophe.
He had no expectations.
Yeah, and
he really is like, he's like, why are you so offended? We're like, you don't get it.
Yeah, makes sense.
So Andy, what did you think? Because you'd said in the chat like it's going to be interesting. So I'm kind of wondering if that means you had a change of heart.
November 17th, 2017.
Oh boy.
You're in your first year of college. You're going to see Justice League home premiere night with your friends. You've been a lifelong fan of the DC Comics. The movie cuts up from fades in from black.
Yep.
You see vertical phone footage. You say out loud in the theater, "Oh no!" Perfectly sets up the rest of the movie for you.
So I think this is the first thing that you brought up in
2021, March 18th. You've been sad for the last 4 years. You remember what it felt to be a boy? Just by memory. You sit down for 4 hours. Actually, 2 hours and 22 minutes. Because you can't watch the whole thing at once. To watch Justice League, the Snyder Cut. You take a nap.
You ended after the Steppenwolf fight. The big
you take a nap. You watch it again you finish it the next day. You're done. You fucking loved it.
Oh my god!
Wow!
Oh wow!
Top 10 comic book movies for you.
Can I say?
Shit.
Wow!
Zack Snyder's best film since Dawn of the Dead.
You know what?
Wow.
I have to 100% endorse that.
Maybe even better than Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, holy shit. I don't even know how to argue with that at the end there. Because,
well, thanks for joining us on the Phantom Zone tonight, where we've established that the rules have changed in the world and nothing new is correct anymore. Up is down and left is right.
Wow,
God is
Andy.
dead.
Like honestly, I'm glad that we've all like we've talked about like kind of the respective chat rooms, but like nobody has given their hard stance yet, which like I was forward to a lot going into this. And Andy's was the one who was like, I'm not saying a fucking word. So I think all of us subconsciously were like, dude, what is Andy gonna say about this movie? We start to fucking show these.
Can I say something? While we watched it, because I watched it with Andy and other friends, he was fucking like making weird noises because he was so excited. Like near the end, I'm like, oh shit, this is cool as fuck, and he's just like,
like pretty much once they got to Russia or whatever, till like the epilogue, I was like giggling.
You know what? I was right there with you because it was also in my head. Like once that started, I was playing like a quick version of the 2017 version in my head, and then like it stops like a 10th of the way through the sequence. I'm like, they cut fucking everything out of it.
They cut the Russian family out.
Yes.
Oh, I missed them.
Okay, but I don't want to get too lost in the rabbit hole. But like,
Eric hasn't given his.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot Eric hasn't given his.
It's fun.
It quickly established why the Russian family is ridiculous because they're like, oh yeah, that place is baked in toxic levels of radiation. It's completely abandoned.
Yeah.
Like it's completely abandoned, and that's why Steppenwolf went there because he's harnessing the toxin, the radiation to basically build a small like a fucking dome for him and his fucking parademons.
Well, it's also so like no one fucks with him.
Exactly.
Well, you watch Chernobyl and you see how quickly those people went down when they had just trace levels of the amount of radiation that came from that.
When that guy looks at the hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that family was protected by Green Lantern's light because they're collectively the Green Lantern, as my theory holds.
Anyway, yeah, that's so it's just pointing out like a ridiculous thing about that sequence. But yeah, no, I'm trying. I don't want to piggyback off Andy's anymore. So let's get to Eric's.
Yeah, I totally went in like thinking I remembered a lot about the original release, other than the wonderful bad Superman mouth in the very beginning of it and the Russian family. But I mean, that too. But I enjoyed this for what it was and what ended up happening, and showing that there was actually a pretty good movie underneath all of the bullshit that was surrounding the first one. Like you can see every bit of WB's fingers that were in this movie in the original release and how it ended up, how bad it was. I mean, that's not to say I didn't still have some issues with excess slow motion and just some of Snyder's tendencies to be a little edgelordy / use very muted color
there's
palettes.
Too much slow motion in this movie. I still enjoyed it, but there's way too much slow motion. And
there's a straight up like, this is their version of that shot from Age of Ultron.
Hang on, I have a question. Is it too much slow motion, or is it the exact amount of slow motion you expect from a 4-hour experience?
It's too much slow motion. I don't need to see Lois Lane leaving a coffee shop in slow motion. Like I don't need that.
Lois Lane scenes are like a depression medication commercial.
Yeah.
All of her scenes are like
things that we could have cut to get this movie down to 3 hours.
Yeah.
But I think her stuff is pretty. I'm like, ugh, grief is hideous, and it's just this woman's just locked herself in the fucking house.
Can I go on a small little rant about Lois Lane in these movies?
Do it.
Amy Adams is a great actress. I feel like Lois Lane as a character, they kind of wrote her a little boring in this one.
Women shouldn't be allowed to talk in. Oh, is that? I thought that's what you were.
No, that's that's a running bit that you kind of keyed in.
Wonder Woman in the animated series is fucking charismatic and funny, and she like shows big quips at people, and she's like smart and like Amy Adams is great, but like just the character, the way they wrote her, she doesn't do too much besides pine over Superman.
Especially like considering what we got with Superman and Lois Lane, like this is like so different. And Amy Adams, alumni of the show.
God damn it! No, but her best stuff is in Man of Steel. Her best work is in Man of Steel. Still, that like interview with her and Clark, and like her chasing after him, and then everything she has to do in BVS when Clark is on screen is kind of bad. She gives
exposition in that movie. She shows people a bullet.
She shows people a bullet in that fucking movie.
Well, no, he turns her into like
Oh, go ahead.
Chekhov's like ticking bomb. Like that is what Lois Lane is now.
She does the exposition thing of like when like why'd you say that name? She's like, it's his mother's name.
That's exactly what I was getting to. Like one of my favorite jokes from you is like her just teleporting into that sequence. Like that's his mother's name.
Yes. Oh, and remember when she goes into the pool to get the spear because she somehow knows it's there after putting the spear in there after just I'm gonna put it in the pool and then I'm gonna dive into the pool to get myself into trouble.
The one thing that he did well with the character is making her not dumb, where she like realizes immediately, like, oh, Clark is Superman. Like that's the best thing that they did with her.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to handle great in this.
Well, and I mean, I think to an extent, to defend Amy Adams' portrayal of Lois in this movie wasn't really about the humans. This was all about.
I don't think the actors are not the problem. It's just like the writing is just, like, they don't give her. They could give her like a B plot in this movie. Besides, like planning over Superman, still have her be sad.
I mean,
like,
okay. Here's the thing: is she's also like an orbit character. Like
Yeah.
This Lois Lane specifically is designed to revolve around Clark, like almost exclusively, and that in Man of Steel she does it the least, and then in BVS I would say she does it way more than she does here, because here like it even reflects her character. Like Clark is gone and she's not moving at all. She is staying inside. She's not going to work. She's not doing anything. Yeah, her universe literally stops.
Well, I mean, if we're on this topic, I think the problem to me is the scene with her and Martha, especially because what we like, and spoiler, I'm sure we're gonna spoil everything. That it's not Martha, and that so she basically has to be talked out of being depressed about like in her mourning by
a Martian,
by the Martian, which that is the scene when I said I fucking hate this scene. Like that is the scene I hate. I hate that scene. That doesn't need to be in this cut.
I agree, and I like it for one reason, and it was after the reveal was meaningless because you're like, we know for a fact this has no aftermath and no successful follow up outside of like one more scene. So you're like, this is a DVD special feature right here. This is something that you see like on those deleted scenes. But what I liked about the scene, just from like it being part of the story, is that John has to stop and process all of the grief that he and then he turns into the general, and that's why I like it. It's fucking useless.
No, I agree. And so I want to say this. I actually like her. I don't like her usage in this movie in general, and I think that we could have trimmed a lot of it. I do think she's better handled here than in the 2017 cut. Because in the 2017 cut, you can tell that she came on a day off months later, and it's just, it's not as interesting. Diane Lane is also just like sleepwalking through it. We're getting like a good performance from her based off of what she has to work with.
Isn't it weird that Diane Lane and Kevin Costner are did a horror movie as a couple like recently?
Yeah,
it was called Batman vs Superman. When they try to talk their son into being a sociopath.
They do though. They succeed. I think my problem with that scene is that it diminishes the idea plot wise is like, all right, she gets over her grief, and then the next time we see her, it's literally like she's getting over it. Oh shit, he's back. It kind of defeats the whole purpose.
That I felt like in my chest, I was like, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's like oh, I got
I'm
over
here to
it.
say goodbye to you.
He's back.
Bam. Oh god, no.
It needs to be one or the other.
Like I would get physically ill if that happened to me. Like if I went to go say goodbye to someone who I lost as a final goodbye, and they just resurrected in front of me, I'd be like, oh fuck no, you've got to be kidding me. Like,
but what's it on the third day?
Take this.
And then she beat the hell out of all of your friends that you made through him.
I think this is like a good way to like kind of talk about components, like, because I feel like we've gone through the Amy Adams part, but like, that scene just bugs the shit out of me. I also don't like the Martian Manhunter design, like,
it's a little weird.
Again, it's because it's going to be thrown away, and I don't.
Yeah.
If they do Martian Manhunter in the future in some form, they're not using this design. I don't think that they will. If it was like, oh well, this is Martian Manhunter going forward, I would probably be right there with you. But it's fine, and we've gotten good Martian Manhunters in the past. He's actually a pretty well used character in the scheme of things. Just outside of movies stuff. Yeah.
It's just more like, and I like that actor, and I think that actor is actually perfect for the character.
Yes.
I think the design is my problem with the Justice League Snyder designs in general. Like, it's too dark. I don't like the black on the green. Like, it doesn't hit, the colors don't kind of hit well. And I don't know why he's like, oh, Drax Faney or whatever's going on.
They put a little too much on it.
Yeah. Well, that's
it's too much seasoning on that.
A little bit too much Snyder on it. Yeah,
busy is part of Snyder's aesthetic. Like everything is very busy.
Yeah. I'm not really sure where to go from here. I mean, do we want to dissect it?
Well, I mean,
piece by piece, or do we just kind of want to let?
Well, can I put on a few things? This in the original Joss Whedon one. There's different fucking movies.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Okay, that's a great. It's just, I guess, like keep rolling into because like it's staggering what the amount of nothing that happens in the 2017 version. And even stuff that's kind of like that exists in both films, like the Amazonian attack from Steppenwolf is like a snooze fest compared to what the fuck happens in this movie, which is fucking insane.
So fucking tight.
Can I just say, I love the fucking parademons like used in this. Like they fucking show up first and it's badass. Like they're just these weird buzzing fucking like they're cool as fuck like enemies.
Yeah.
And, like they use
we get to see so much more of them too, and they look like they're like one of the designs I really like.
Yeah, they didn't show up at Themyscira in the first version, right? Right?
No, it's just it's the Great Goat Man showing up by himself.
Yeah,
it was
just Steppenwolf.
God.
Yeah.
Well, he brought like a couple parademons, but they're stuck in the thing when they do the hammers and
that whole chase scene. I don't think is like that, right?
I watched it recently, like on YouTube, to see the comparison, and I was like, like the original, like it's very toned down and like basic, and it's very like, even the dialogue that Joss Whedon had him say, like you could tell Kieran Hines was probably like fucking half drunk or something because he didn't seem like he was like that into it during the reshoot.
That's a horse.
That's a.
He slams like fucking 3 horses.
Kieran Hines in this movie is a vicious drunk bulldog performance, and it's fucking wonderful. And in the 2017 one, he doesn't give a shit.
Exactly.
He's just like primitive being. Here's your missile.
Well, that's the two big differences. Like I brought up one before, but like the fact that Steppenwolf is an actual character with pathos and a personality, and he exists,
motivation.
Well, and we get like it's so little. We get like 2 scenes. It's like so much backstory, like that you can imply from those like 2 little scenes. Just so much for the character.
He also has a really interesting emotional palette because he's not just evil for 2 straight hours. He is evil. He gets sad. He gets frightened. He gets intimidated.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite pieces of Steppenwolf like acting or character moments is when he sees Diana for the first time and he's like, "You're strong. You're different, not like the other ones." And he eyeballs his axe and looks back at her as if to say, like, "Could I take this woman without a weapon in my hand?" And then ultimately, no, I don't think I can, and reaches for it. And that's when Diana fucking slams him through a wall. I was like, that glance alone is more character than the other one had for 2 fucking hours. Like, couldn't believe it.
Arlen,
like that,
it sounded
it's also it's also quiet stuff. So like him finding the what the fuck is it called? The thing that Darkseid is always trying to look for.
The anti-life equation.
The anti-life
Come
equation.
on.
Like him just trying to find that, and him like going to that random place, and like the way, like the introspection that you get. He's completely quiet in that sequence, and the fact that they give you this time of him just like looking off and like trying to figure things out. That goes so far. It gives him so much more of a character and a personality. And it's the kind of thing that they gave Thanos in Infinity War.
Yes.
Like he would get little like small moments of just like
Introspection.
Just introspection and things that he was doing that maybe didn't necessarily completely contribute to the plot, but they did so much for him as a character.
Yeah, they developed Thanos.
on,
where he
Eric
was
was
a real
trying to-
guy.
Eric was trying
No,
to get a point in there.
I just wanted to point out was the at the point where the boom tube opened and Steppenwolf was actually seeing like Granny Goodness and Darkseid.
Ooh.
Like he had big puppy dog eyes. Like his
Yeah.
arm went down and he had like almost Disney-esque like
Yeah.
daddy look on his face. So like
Well,
yeah, just all those things combined, like I actually gave a shit about the dude instead of like, oh look, big CGI guy with horns. Like
Mhm.
it's
Big
like all of
Aries
these
2.0.
Big man, big helmet.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
like the fact that sometimes when you look at Steppenwolf at a certain angle, now granted he's very, and as Lewis pointed out, like it's not the original design. This is very alien. The point where like the longer I looked at him, I was like, what the fuck is he? And especially when the armor is like closer on his face, I'm like, he looks like someone stuffed a guppy into a helmet and was like,
He looks like a blobfish.
Yeah,
He
the
looks
blob.
like a blobfish with armor around him.
like it looks like
Victor
someone
Cruz?
stuffed him in there, and if you peeled him out, he would just turn to a blob. Like he looks
Yeah.
like he's so
Yeah.
stuffed into this pointy fucking
Well,
apparatus.
Yeah,
that was on that note, like at the point where he was realizing the anti-life equation was on Earth, I was thinking like, you know, he looks alien, his face, but his hands and like the rest of him, like, oh, they could have done this, or this. And then I was like, oh shit, he's got like 2 extra thumbs going on
he's
there.
got
I
seven
didn't
seven
Mhm.
digits.
He's
Yeah,
got a xenomorph hand. Like he has
Yeah, I
extra
just-
fingers where he doesn't need them. Like
yeah, I didn't realize that until that particular scene. I'm like, oh, okay, they did do a good job of translating that he's actually completely foreign to anything that humans would have any idea about.
yeah.
I do want to bring up one thing based on like what Arlen was saying with like that moment. Like when I watched that moment and knowing what we know because of the Snyder cut, because it wasn't theatrical, like his backstory that he did something to get kind of smacked down,
Mhm.
like him seeing the anti-life equation to me was like, I feel like to me I read it as he's pondering whether or not if he could use it himself to take down Darkseid or to just
Oh,
give
yeah.
it to Darkseid. That's how I read it because it seemed
fact-
he did
Oh, man.
something rebellious.
Yeah,
and the
it's-
fact that he
it's-
goes and tells
yeah.
Desaad, who is awesome by the way.
Oh,
The
it's a really
fact that he
good.
goes and tells Desaad, like, I found it. Like he's prioritizing getting back into the glory of his family over personal gain, and I was like, this is actually compelling. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
it
it's-
reminds me
it's-
of the best stuff in Man of Steel with fucking Michael Shannon and shit. Like the
Yeah.
sequences
Oh,
of just
no.
him like trying to find his power or whatever. I will find
quiet,
him.
Zod,
Yeah.
get into these penises.
Yeah, get into the penis shit.
Like, can we talk about the design though? Like
Mm.
it
Of
is
what step?
We were kind of
Steppenwolf?
already there. So yeah.
yeah, like I think it is an improvement. The suit is
Mhm.
interesting. I like that
Yeah.
it's if you watch scenes, it's like everything is kind of moving.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very
It does
busy.
come off a little too destroyer armor to me still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, like
can see
it feels derivative in ways, but it's still an improvement.
It
I like
how
that
it works
seems to have-
mechanically rules.
Yes, I like the fact
Yes.
that the mechanical use of it and the fact that it has some practicality to it because like arrows, like he can catch them in the spikes, like or he can adjust where the spikes are
Yeah.
on his armor for maybe offensive or defensive purposes. Like the armor is interesting in use, and that's kind of why I like the design a lot because I'm like that is one. It's terrifying. He just looks like he just looks like just walking death. Also, when it was like when he was in the daytime, like at Themyscira, he was the sun and like all the colors around him were creating this weird kind of purplish
Yeah.
glow on him, and I was like, that looks fan-fucking-tastic, and he's not just steel gray the whole time.
See, and that's where
Yeah.
I feel like he is that's my problem with him. It's like he's too like monocolor. Like it's yes, it's an armor, but it's just like it's like an exosuit, and it's not like I would have preferred. Like I think he had like some sort of goofy clothing in this 2017 cut, right?
He had Skyrim armor. Okay, that's
Yeah.
what we'll
Well,
call it.
I guess I would
Yeah.
prefer like a version of like a mashup of the two. Like I want it to be like clothes more of an armor than like him wearing like an exosuit, like symbiotic tech on him. Like it was almost like it looked cool, but it was kind of like it's all one thing. And then that's why it reminds me of the Destroyer armor. It's like it was different kind of color schemes, and I think that's the Snyder design thing I really don't like, because I have very similar problems with Cyborg. It's just like it's too much and not enough at the same time.
Well,
Yeah.
moving into Cyborg, like that's actually something that I was looking for in this cut, because I seem to remember in the original cut of the movie, there was a point where Cyborg's armor got much less angular. It kind of
Yeah.
smoothed out near the end of the movie.
It cleans up at the end.
Yeah,
cleans
and
up and like
it
it's also
didn't,
looking a
but
little
it
more
comes much
janky.
more-
And then
But
he
it-
says
Yeah.
"Booyah!" I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but
That's how
he's
that
more-
scene goes.
But that was
Yeah,
the thing. What was the reason that his armor got like that? I thought he put a mother box in his chest or something like that. Like
No, it was like
Coming to
I should
terms with it?
I think it was like I should maybe change my design to look more fashionable.
You should
or
probably
something
move.
like
Wait.
that.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's because Silas survives in the original version. I think at the end of the 2017 version, he's in the lab with Silas and he's making his armor change to make it look less pointy and jagged.
yeah,
So I
and
think
like
that's why
I remember
think
this
that,
being
that might
before
be what
the
you're thinking
battle
of.
sequence, though. I remember this
No,
being
it
like
was-
right before the
No,
final
it's
battle,
it was
after.
after.
Maybe
It was
is
after.
it okay? Is it after? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
Okay.
was the one thing. Like I actually kind of liked the way his armor looked when it was smoothed out from the 2017 version. Like it
Yeah.
didn't look quite
Like a
as
transformer.
not even that. Like it looked like if you took the armor off of a toy that you're not supposed to take the armor off of. Like he just looked too skinny
Right.
with
Oh,
the
no, he
with the
definitely looked too
spiky
skinny.
stuff.
I think the headpiece, and also like it makes his head unsymmetrical in a way that doesn't look right.
Yeah, I just
Mm.
I don't know what it was. I mean, that's regardless of the point that holy shit, Ray Fisher was amazing in this movie.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I was
astounding.
Goodness.
shocked how much I enjoyed
Yeah.
his character in
It's-
this.
It's his movie.
It's frustrating.
100% his movie.
Well,
yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, Andy is we haven't heard a whole lot from you guys. Like, what do you guys have to say about this?
Ray Fisher was fucking amazing, and I feel like there's so much of these scenes that were not in the original cut. Like Joss Whedon, I don't want to go on too much about Joss Whedon. He's a shitty person. He's a weirdo.
Mhm.
But he added stuff that was unnecessary and stupid, and took out things that were like very good. And
Yeah.
it's weird. Like
Well,
And,
so I don't
and
want to get
know
on the
how.
soapbox about
yeah.
this.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
go
my
ahead, Alan.
understanding is that the studio played more of a part in that than he actually.
That's and that's
Um,
why I've been referring to it as like the 2017 version, or
Yeah.
as Arwen said, like the studio cut.
Yes, because apparently there was a Joss cut that was 3 hours long, and they cut it because they couldn't get
good thing that we didn't see that. 'Cause, oof.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I would be fascinated to see his 3 hour cut and to see if it's.
No, here we go again.
Oh, God.
Yeah, nobody's gonna
Release
be
the
asking
Whedon
for that
cut.
one.
I would.
Nobody
I would be
wants that one.
I would be legit curious to see like how much he
I need
originally
more
kept
Wonder Woman
in.
butt shots.
Yeah, I would
yeah,
imagine that.
well,
Yeah, I would imagine that his is much closer. But it would probably have more of those jokes and stuff. But I mean, I joked the other day that. Well, did the studios ask
I
him
don't
to
not like
Whedon
you.
it up more?
Oh,
Was
I think
his
they
cut-
definitely
I
did.
don't know.
Was his cut more like Zack's movie? And they were like, "Why don't you put more of yourself in the movie?" And
I
he's
used
like,
the Flash phone to Diana's tits here, Joss.
Right,
Okay?
And,
Why
and
isn't
make-
it happening?
and make Batman
Right.
suicidal.
"Right, exactly."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's have a whole scene where Batman's
Something's
like,
bleeding.
I don't know if I can do this, because we needed that from Batman of all
Yeah.
characters.
I literally
Yeah.
have no memory of this. What you're talking about? That's how
Oh, God,
unmemorable
yeah.
that 2017 movie is.
Yeah,
There's a-
I want to stay.
yeah.
I want to stay on. Hang on, I want to stay on Cyborg though because
Yes.
the
Yeah.
Yes,
the,
yes.
the differences in tone are an entirely different conversation. Andy, I kind of want to hear your perspective on this. Cyborg in general.
Okay. So I mean, I've always had a soft spot in my heart for Cyborg growing up on Teen Titans.
Oh yeah.
The animated show on Cartoon Network. I absolutely love what they do with him here. It's cool that they let him be vulnerable at points.
Mhm.
Like that part after a football game where like he's like in the car right before the accident, and like you see him crying.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
shocking to see a
Fucking
movie like this.
tight. and I didn't really anticipate that from like a Zack Snyder movie.
Mhm.
It's fascinating because
okay,
they
I
lean
wanna-
into him being a real person of that age. Like he feels like a young person.
Also,
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
inject this into like the conversation overall before it gets away from me. On that note, like with Victor crying over him
Yeah.
being devastated by his father, like whether or not it started this way and then fate was very cruel to this man. But the finished product of this movie has lots of very heavy, I guess retroactively heavy, like parent-kid relationship stuff that really fucking hurts now.
Yeah.
And a lot of it comes from Cyborg. Some of it comes from Barry. There's other comments people make about it where it's like like when I think about the whole process how this movie got made, I'm like, no wonder why he kept going back to work after it happened. Like this was his fucking outlet, and then he fucking took it away
Yeah.
from him.
Well, and not to make it all about my running jokes.
Oh, God.
I do wonder if any reticence I had before actually seeing this movie came from a belief that Zack would double down on
Yeah.
some of the things that I had assumed were not in this movie. But I get the feeling that maybe his personal experience actually did change him in some ways, and it actually did make him reevaluate his life in a lot of places. And I do wonder if he would even tone down some of the weirdness here. And there's not a lot. Again, we don't have to go into it because there isn't a virtual Ayn Rand summoned into the middle of this movie to preach. That didn't happen, so we don't have to talk about it for too long. But I feel like he would even cut out anything that felt almost nihilistic. Because if there is anything in here, like there's some nihilistic stuff, there's some very like Nietzschean stuff in here, but I don't mind it in the context.
I think that the Nietzschean stuff comes with the characters, though.
Yes,
That's kind of the movie's much more hopeful than anything else he's ever done.
Yes.
Yeah, and if he had the opportunity to do more reshoots himself, if he was able to really finish the movie and deliver like a 3.5 hour cut, I bet that some of that stuff would be gone. Because I get the feeling that even he is like, I don't know if I believe in the same things I believed in when I made BVS or Man of Steel. I don't know. I don't want to assume too much. My like I said at the very beginning, my perspective on him is very different now because I have a different understanding of how he works with studios and how they maybe ruined some of his other movies in the past. They're definitely the reason why the BVS theatrical cut is just a giant piece of trash. And they're probably why MOS in a lot of places kind of sucks. There's still some stuff that
POS.
Yes.
No, I actually really like that movie.
No, well, the biggest problem
I
with
think a lot
Man
of
of
that
Steel
movie-
is Snyder's.
Yes.
I don't want to go too deep into the prior Snyder films.
Yeah,
We're here to talk about
Mhm.
Justice League.
Can I say some things about Cyborg though? I like how there's a lot various emotions and different sides to him. Like he shows, sadness, and he has like a good anger scene when he's like fuck the world. Like he doesn't care about saving the world.
Yeah.
But he also shows like compassion when he helps that like nurse lady that's at the ATM, and like it's really good. Like this is really good that he has like he's very human. He's like the most human of the movie, and he's like a half metal robot guy.
Yeah.
It's very understandable versus how he is in the 2017 movie where he's just very flat and he just feels
He's just
like
there.
he feels like a basic insert, very generic cyborg character.
Well, he's there, at least in this cut of the movie, he's more there to kind of be the audience surrogate, to be like, all right, let's say you got these powers and you were hanging out with all these people, like how would you handle it? Because I would think they would aim towards the Flash, but the choices they made with the Flash are interesting.
Well, he is in the cut. He very much is. That's the biggest difference, I would say, is that the Flash is like our character. He is the audience person in that movie. He's less so in this, and it is more on Cyborg in this. And I kind of like that better because
I do too.
Flash is just, especially this version of the Flash, this version of Barry, is very disconnected.
He's not, and I'm not trying to get away from Cyborg too much here. I just wanted to say, like, I think the Flash isn't as relatable because he's too all over the place. And I understand that's they're piggybacking his powers onto his personality.
His powers are a gift, where Cyborg's is like truly a
thrust
curse
upon him. Yeah.
But there was like his whole thing, which I think is one of the things this movie gets done really well with the character. And I was goofed about like how the Doom Patrol version, it was like the better, and it still has in many ways a better version of Cyborg, but like they get across like he was a kid who should be dead, who got turned into this against his will without his consent, and then is stuck like this monster. Like, it's very Frankenstein monster. I think Connor said that one in the chats.
Yeah, they were totally alluding to that with him having the hood up in the very beginning, like when talking to his father. Like, that's very much like a modern like Prometheus, for lack of a better term. But no, Ray Fisher, like I completely understand why he would be furious with everything that happens.
Isn't Joe Morton in like what 3 scenes in the theatrical cut?
I think he gets saved. He gets saved in the parademons. Yeah, he gets kidnapped by the parademons. That happens. He gets saved and then just fucks off for the rest of the film, and then shows up at the end during Lois Lane's like monologue montage.
And he has such a character arc in this movie, from the flashbacks of like, oh, the character is like, his job is more important than his family. Then like he does all the shit to save his son, and then like he can't connect with him. And then that tape recording thing is so fucking good. It is probably my favorite thing of this whole movie.
It's very Dr. Manhattan-y from Watchmen, except it's like you're getting that same kind of information dump from an external source who is explaining the nature of his son's new existence to him, and the way he's doing it is fascinating as fuck, because like actually it was dabbling in the first half of it in that like that kind of cynicism that we all know. It's like, yeah, you're essentially a digital god, and there's nothing in your way in the modern world that can actually step up to you. So like you're essentially just a deity in the digital age. And that's like, that is dangerous rhetoric until he gets to the point where he's like, but as your father twice over, is like, I'm asking you to, it's in your responsibility to choose what not to do as far as being, godly.
That's the strength, I think, of that entire performance by Ray Fisher, and also of the actor who played his father, is that
Joe Morton.
Thank you.
Also appeared in season 1 of that show.
All right.
Also appeared in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. He's the one that we know as going.
He also has to hit a button in this movie.
He's also the Martian
Man. Passing.
You get all of the stuff about Cyborg being basically a cybernetic god, like in the first half of his arc, because you see him like making the choice to be a good person and give that the waitress or nurse or whatever she was, like, all that money, but he's still like unsure of what his role is in the world. And then the end of the movie, you get to see it all wrap up with him. So I mean, that's why I maintain that he is like the audience surrogate / heart of this entire film.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I feel like also he has a bigger connection to the central plot when the villain than anyone else. I mean, without saying, like, the mother box connection is such a good way to tie him in. And I feel like it gives it. He has way more stake than maybe personal stake, I guess, than anyone else.
Well, I also like the fact that like it's like Bruce, Diana, and Clark are there to essentially be like defense. They're not the heavy hitters in this movie. They are there to be the big guns. The world is saved by Cyborg and Flash.
Yes.
I think it's awesome, like, to give those two characters who normally in a different, we've already seen it in a different movie, like, would not be given the chance to do such like amazing things in terms of how the story goes and what's at stake. Like, like between the two of them, they are instrumental in making sure that what Steppenwolf is trying to do is cut out entirely. And like Clark is there to bully Steppenwolf, but we'll get to that later on.
Arthur is there to obviously.
Let's let's use that as a jumping off point
Oh,
for the other
I
character.
just want to
Yeah, go
say one
ahead.
more thing about this. Like, I feel like the one part that I feel differently than you guys is like my favorite part of the scene with the tape recorder is actually not like it's a great way to exposition dub, but you learn so much about the relationship of him being like, now as your father, crunch.
Yeah.
Like that tells you everything you need to know without words. That is showing and not telling. And then that scene of him putting it back together after like he's gone, he's dead, like all that stuff. And then when you get to the Momoa and Aquaman's like he literally just lost, like he's a kid, he just lost his father. Like all of that stuff hits so much harder. Like knowing, and then that little like head nod when they're like coming, it's like no, keep everybody out. Like that stuff hits so well. And it's insane that none of that stuff is in the theatrical cut.
We were talking about this.
It's insane.
Yeah. But yeah, to jump off of something Connor was saying, the other character that's gotten a much bigger role in this cut was the Flash. So what did everybody think about the Flash in this movie?
Feels we should
Ezra Miller's performance is weird, and Ezra Miller's performance is weird, and there was times where I was like, I want to hit you very hard. It's also times where like I found him to be like genuinely captivating. Like during his big moment when I'm assume what he did was harness what Zack Snyder's idea of the Speed Force is, which is this like. So every time like I think of Barry doing time traveling or into the Speed Force in the comics, it's usually him going to this like massive, just like painting of like ridiculous colors and lights and just swirling whatever. It's like it's beyond your comprehension because it's supposed to be this cosmic, location.
It's like the fucking Doctor Who opening.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And the TV show, it's they kind of treat it like he goes in one spot and comes at the other. It's basically like teleportation.
Well, that's because of budget.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. And this, like, when Barry uses the Speed Force to go back in time, he doesn't enter a door and come out another one. Doesn't go into a tube. He runs against the flow of time and drags it backwards, and that was fucking incredible.
Well, So I love the way that they set it up, though. It's so well. They establish it. They give you little hints of it. Time starts to move backwards a little bit when he's bringing back Superman, and then you understand, okay, the faster he goes, the longer he does it, time will literally start to move backwards. And it's a perfect setup for if they're doing Flashpoint at some point later on.
Well,
they are, by the way.
Yeah. Well, it just shows that, like, as much as I'm shocked to be saying this, that like Snyder actually was doing a good job of showing, not telling, like you pointed out earlier, Arlen. Like he's giving you the earlier hints of it, and then it's like, all right, and now here's the showpiece moment for him. And that's something I said I had issues with, was the way Ezra moves his hands around when he's running. But I will say near the end of the movie, like the latter half of it during the final action scenes, like it works because it looks more natural the way he's doing it. But when he's just starting off from like a standstill, it looks goofy as fuck, and I hate it. I hate it so much.
They gotta change that in the future. They gotta have it run different.
I vaguely remember feeling that the hand motions were actually goofy back in 2017. I don't know how present they are there.
They were, because I remember I hated it then.
They play, and this is something I mentioned in one of the chats, they play up the idea of him maybe being autistic a little bit more in this cut. It's definitely more present. And I just wrote it off as part of that. That it's not necessarily stimming, but it's pretty. It's in the same.
What are you trying to say, Arlen?
Well, the thing that changed my opinion on it was like there's
Hunter Davenport enters the scene.
There's
no, it's the Joker.
There's a particular scene where, hey, Hunter's here, everybody. There's a particular scene like when you first see him like starting to turn back time at the end of the movie. And the hand motions make more sense because it looks like he's just kind of, we can't tell what is it. It looks like he's grabbing and waiting through time to push it back. And that works. That makes a lot of sense to me. But like I said, it's just when he's in civilian clothes and he has to go run off and do something, it's just he looks like he's got noodle arms. He's just kind of slapping them around like he's a wavy tube man
like he has no bones in his arms.
Yeah.
Like
Right. He should be in front of a car dealership.
It's terrible. But outside of that, like the Flash paid off in spades at the very end of this movie. Like not the very end, but like the last hour and a half or so.
Yeah,
not the very end, absolutely.
Yeah. And like the build up towards him doing that, and then when he gets hit, and like at first the performance, I was like, and then I realized I'm like, this is like he's a regular ass dude who signed up to save the universe on a fucking whim. Of course he would be petrified if he took a shot to the gut. Like he'd be like, "Oh no, this is the worst thing that could ever fucking happen to me right now." Then yeah, when he gets all zen, and then like I think my favorite moment of the entire sequence is when he throws his hand up in the air as if to say like, "No, this shit isn't happening," and then like stands still and kind of like takes in what's happening. He's like, "All right, this is where I have to break my one rule." I like all the body language in that scene is awesome, and then like the visual effects are astounding. And the fact that he's just like running towards this big bullshit of light. Also, the horrifying visual of Superman's ribs being put back onto his spinal column.
Was so good.
Yes, it was. Like I actually
everybody getting put back together.
I missed that. Wait, what?
It's when
you see people rematerializing and their bodies being reformed because
it's like Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, because everybody fucking died is the point we didn't bring up. So yeah, like they failed to sync the mother boxes they fucking lose. Yeah, when Bear runs back to the point of where he has to go, like you see every detail of Victor's face get put back onto his body, and it's disgusting and amazing. And yeah, like I love the fact they showed Superman is one of the first ones to get blown to fucking bits, and you can see him put back together. It's insane.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's sorry, I got.
And like off of that, you get more great Cyborg shit because that's when he has his Creed moment where he's like, he kind of echoes the "I'm not a mistake" from the end of Creed, and and he says like, "I'm not alone." And he has a similar. "I'm not alone. I'm not broken," and he fucking
I'm not broken.
The Unity.
I hated the design of like the mother boxes and the thing. I was
fuck it.
They look like 1997 like Tales from the Crypt special effects.
Honestly, that is.
It looked like James Wan came in to animate those.
Let Hunter talk. He had something to say.
Yeah,
that's like my. I'm gonna full disclosure here. I kind of like this movie. Like I think
that's where we, dude.
I think we're all there,
dude. Andy loves this movie. Okay,
that's not surprising.
We're past the point of like, guys, I think I like this movie. Like,
yeah. I just want to throw that there. But my big sticking point is I don't like the way any of the fourth world stuff looks in this.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
that's fair.
It's a little boring.
It's all very cold.
Yeah,
a lot of it. Generic is a great way of putting it.
And that's this is where my earlier comment when I was talking about what I thought
also
the movie.
The stuff with Barry's dad towards the end. Billy Crudup once again returning to destroy my soul.
He's used better here again.
Yes.
He has like an actual because I don't remember him actually having an emotional palette in the original cut, and like in this one, like he's very defeated. In the first encounter and the second encounter, like Barry says, "I got my foot in the door," and like he has like essentially he has a dad breakdown, and like just laughs his ass off at the words he got his foot in the door, and then he processes the weight of his son moving on his life, and he just is like, "Oh my god! Like everyone, come say congratulations to my fucking son."
He's like
I taught him nothing he knows.
I taught him nothing he knows.
And then, that's a great line. It's like, "Dad, calm down. You're gonna get maced again." Like that's a.
And then
go back to guys. Eric's trying to say something.
Sorry, I for some reason I couldn't get through voice chat wise. Hunter, on what you were saying with the designs of like the third world. Is it third world? Fourth world?
Fourth world.
Fourth world. Thank you.
World,
I couldn't remember.
Pick up a fucking book.
Learn to read. Fuck you. Go read all of Final Crisis and the entire Morrison back.
Before we've all been alive reading this shit.
That's part of where my earlier comment when I was talking about what I thought of the movie, like edgelordy stuff, I feel like a lot of the fourth world stuff felt very like, yeah, and make it spiky and gold and black, and that's
Yeah,
gonna
I
be
like
yeah,
them
real
that's-
big.
cool.
I like them spiky.
I do want to say I love that
I love you too.
like I totally agree with that. I think if we ever see stuff from New Genesis, that will
Yeah.
hopefully look much better.
I hope so.
Because
I
they
think
are
they're
supposed
gonna-
to be two sides
Yeah.
or complete
Yeah.
opposites.
Yeah.
I
That
think they're
movie
gonna
is-
jettison a lot of shit. They're
Yeah.
not gonna keep most of this. I like Dark Side. I actually
Yes.
do like Dark
Damn
Side.
it, is Dark
in
Side
context.
fucking
He was
cool?
fucking
Yes.
scary.
In
Okay.
context, he works, and I like him more in the later sequences. I think his introduction scene, he's fine. He's better than some of the other big CGI grunt characters that we've seen in Snyder movies. But he specifically looks cool. I agree, though. The rest of it is very generic and very filler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the
What
most
in
part.
particular I liked about Darkseid is I think it's really cool that like the Omega symbol is like part of his bone structure. Like
Oh,
his sternum, you can see
Yeah.
it like fucking popping out.
It's
And
pretty
then
cool.
also
I
the
hate
fucking
that.
the Omega beams, dude.
Yes, the Omega
The-
Sin
Yeah.
The
thing.
Omega
Yeah.
beams are cool,
And
but that's because
the water
Omega
is-
beams are cool.
Yeah.
So I
I
think
also-
yeah, you go ahead. Yeah.
I want to also point out that, like, now we're on the topic of Dark Side, like his appearance at the end of the movie within the context of the story and who he is seeing and how it's happening is
Oh,
like
yeah.
if Thanos walked up during the end of the first battle in New York and was like, oh, okay, all right,
Yeah.
I'll see you guys later.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's looking at that fucking
Yeah.
boom tube, and then like they close up with Superman. I'm like, holy fuck, this is intense. And Darkseid doesn't do anything. He's like, all right, like,
He's
and
like,
just
"Alright, okay,
watches Steppenwolf get fucking murdered.
Oh yeah, just
He
he
was-
steps
he was
on
about to,
his head.
He was about to
Yeah.
go full Denzel in Training Day. Oh, yeah, motherfuckers did this to me.
Yeah, and he's like, oh look, my nephew. Oh, my nephew's getting his ass handed to him by a bunch of monkeys. Let's see how this. Oh, they killed him. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, no, it's time for him to reevaluate his plan, and he fucking underestimated them.
He does. He's like, Desaad. He's like,
Let's close
Yeah,
this
but-
shit.
anything to
I
say,
got-
Desaad? He's like, well, I kind of knew he would goof. He's like, yeah, you knew he'd goof. Get the ships. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I do like his delivery. We'll do this the old way. And then,
Yeah.
that was really
Well, that's where like I think that one line is like what is fun about Darkseid, and I'll go to like the most known version, like the Justice League version, the cartoon. Like
Yeah.
he's so grandiose and like
Yeah.
pretentious, and like there was also
Yeah.
like, and I know it's like this cut. Like I thought Apocalypse was kind of like I didn't necessarily like what little we saw of it. Like I thought it should have been like his chair, like it should be more ornate. And I think that's like the lack of
Sorry.
the Kirby influence is, and I know it doesn't have to be exactly, but it's like that's like the guy. This is the most
Yeah.
famous shit that guy.
Right, so-
and he's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guy.
Yes, yeah. So something that me and Lou talked about a lot of times is if it's your first introduction to these characters, they should maybe look more like how they are in the books.
Yeah.
I care less about characters that you've seen a billion times. You can do whatever the fuck you want with Batman. We've seen comic accurate Batman and a million other Batmans. Darkseid should look somewhat close, and other new Genesis characters, new gods characters.
Give me some Kirby
Um,
circles.
Yeah.
And
Kirby
like,
dots, you know?
I like the Omega symbol being the bones, but like maybe he should have been wearing very comic accurate armor, and Ares should have gotten him with that axe, and then we reveal the Omega symbol as part of his bones. Like you can do things
Mm.
with that. You can still keep the cool idea of his bones are Omega symbol, but you can also acknowledge the thing that you're basing this off of. And you've already decided that you're going to have a big Lord of the Rings style fight sequence or battle
Yeah.
sequence. You've broken your thing of, well, this is supposed to be realistic. There's no reason not to go all
Space
in.
gods.
Right. You've already you've already just cut yourself off from that idea entirely by introducing a Green Lantern and gods, Ares, Zeus. Just say fuck. Just
That
go.
whole
Just
sequence
go.
is
Just go.
fucking
Just do it.
Bonkers. I can't.
Yeah.
believe that sequence. I love it so much.
Oh, can I just say,
Yeah.
like, I know it's like the weird cut of this, but like, Ares looked horrifying. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
whatever
dude, fucking
CGI they were
David
doing
too.
He was so
was
Okay,
so
so-
bad.
Okay, the thing
Yes.
with Ares is like, at some point in the background, I saw him kind of standing over someone. I'm like, did they drop David Thewlis's head onto a body and just make
Oh, he has a giraffe neck.
like he, yeah, he looks.
Can I say,
like,
They're like,
I
hey,
like-
can you do
I-
reshoots? And he was like, nah, and
Yes.
hung up the phone. And they're like, all right, we're gonna like,
Izza, what you
I
gonna
would
say?
say that I like that there's fatalities in this movie.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, I was gonna use the dark side thing as a means to get to what I think is a very interesting conversation, which is, holy fuck, this movie is violent and horrifying. But like, when dark side with Ares axe and a geyser of blood shoots out of his chest, I was like, I didn't see something like this. Like,
Yeah, that was dope. That was really dope. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that was some of the stuff that I saw, like just noticing when watching the movie, like, oh shit, like I kind of understand why this cut didn't come out, because I don't think audiences would have been quite ready after being fed Marvel films for so long to be like, oh yeah, no, watch this person bleed out after getting shoved onto like this jagged metal spike. Like, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I think it worked well.
go ahead.
ahead.
No,
I'm done.
Okay,
Can I
every
say-
time
can I say,
Steppenwolf
sorry,
Mm.
sorry, go.
every time Steppenwolf hit an Amazon, I was like, Jesus Christ!
Oh,
Like,
Yeah.
Hey,
but
hey.
the thing is that helps make Steppenwolf like more into a character, because when they finally fucking
Yeah.
off his ass, I was like, 'cause especially how he dies, he's impaled and has his head cut off. Like, Superman punched him, and that's all he does. I thought about it, I was like, he deserved that, because
Yeah.
he not only murders countless Atlanteans and countless Amazonians, but then later on shows up to those two characters and is like, guess how many of your people I fucking murdered today? So like when Diana jumps to the air, I'm like, oh, you totally have this coming, you vicious son of a bitch. But yeah, like Steppenwolf inflicts most of the horrifying violence in this movie onto people, and a lot of it is really terrifying if you get a good glimpse of it.
Okay, can you guys hear me? So Wonder Woman during the bank robbery, some of those dudes she kills, like she throws them against a fucking wall and they just splat. Like, she
Oh
just-
god,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Dude,
Well,
that guy was a puddle when you saw him.
That was something I brought up in a group chat, was that I don't remember Wonder Woman moving that quickly when you first get introduced to her in the movie, like in the
she does some,
2017
well,
cut.
it's okay. She never moves
Yeah.
that quickly again.
Well, so let's point out that in the 2017 cut, I guess they slow motion her deflecting the bullets at first. When you first see her. And I don't know if they slow motion her during her deflecting all of those bullets in that crowd of people. But they probably did for a little bit of it. I can't really remember. I only tried to watch the 2017 cut maybe once a while ago, and I was bored. Like, halfway
Yeah.
through.
It just reminds me. I think I watched it on a plane after I'd been on the podcast like 2 times.
Oh.
And that doesn't count. That never counts as watching a movie. I wanted to say, as far as Diana, and that scene, like, and specific, the context of that scene, like between all 3 of her appearances across these movies, or 4, like one thing they've made it a point to do is that every time Diana sees kids, like she kind of glows like a fucking lamp, and it's adorable. And I think like seeing someone point a gun at kids made her go into like overdrive, which is maybe like, no, I can't, but I forget that way because I didn't think about it afterwards. I was like, yeah, she, like, children are her big, like, don't you fucking hurt kids or I will break you in half.
And then she almost killed them all.
Which is why when she turns that guy into a puddle of paste in the floor, I was like, you had it coming.
Yeah. I mean, so with Diana in general, I don't mind if she kills. I really don't. I don't care.
Oh, no, I don't mind if she kills.
I have strong feelings about Batman and Superman killing. I don't care if Diana kills.
No, she's always been that character. She's a warrior.
No, she's a warrior. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about Batman carrying
I think
an
it's
assault
great,
rifle?
but it's also it's slightly funny that like it's not there's not really a problem with the character, but it's just a funny thing to me to imagine that she brutally murders these like bank robbers and like goes to the little girl. I want to be just like you when I grow up. And,
I'll teach you how to roast people who are giving you shit too.
See, and
Yeah.
I hate that
in
scene.
this movie and in real life.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
why-
that scene is. I just don't get like the like why she ends it the way she does. It's like she does so much fucking collateral damage. I'm like, that is the least heroic thing. Like she's a fucking asshole of how she kills that last guy. Like it makes
Yeah,
no.
I mean,
sense to me.
what are you gonna do? Arrest her? Like,
No,
Yeah,
she
and that,
literally
like-
puts all the people in danger that she's trying to protect by doing her stupid clanky.
well, no, I think that only works like directly. I think it works directly going outwards. I don't think it has any blowback.
It's like a solar flare.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it. Yeah,
I mean, Dragon Ball Z
Whatever.
style, but like, I just
I
don't.
mean,
like, it bothered me. Like, I
Oh,
was
that
just like,
thing.
when she blew out the hole, I'm like, well, that was I was like, what? Why? Like, that's so
Hey, listen, they're setting up Thunderbolt Ross saying, "Hey, you guys did a life ladder."
yeah, but no, it's 100% Thunderbolt Ross. I was
Yeah.
kicked out of my own universe, and now I'm here.
Yeah, he just changes his name. He's Sam Lane now.
Yeah.
He's gonna he's gonna be talking about how Metropolis, the bank. Everything you guys done.
He's like Metropolis again, Metropolis again, Metropolis again.
The Metropolis area because of Gotham.
It also reminded me of like, oh yeah,
Gotham, which is
2017.
very close to
This guy
Gotham, which
was
is
in
very
Game
close
of,
to Metropolis.
This guy was in Game of Thrones. I remember that.
Oh,
Right.
God.
Bruce, yeah.
Yeah, when's that
Bruce
gonna end?
Bolton.
When's that last season
Not-
coming, guys?
Lou, my problem with the Wonder Woman scene, is like, it's the choice of like bank robbers. I was like, it's 2021.
Well, and they're like,
Well, they're not
but they're
vampires.
not. They're terrorists.
No, they're not.
Yeah,
they're
or
terrorists.
whatever the fuck.
They're cultists.
But
Yeah.
Was that
even then, like they felt so antiquated.
Oh
Because the
no,
movie-
that I agree with you there.
The movie is dealing with like I don't want to use love creation, but like deep ass space cosmic horrors that we can't really understand and hope to deal with. And like Diana's like, I'm gonna go kick the shit out of these fucking idiots with
I
guns.
guess.
Like
honestly,
I don't know.
There's a field trip.
The way
At a
that
bank!
the way that they,
To a bank, yes, to a bank.
The way that they describe these bank robbers, I didn't mind it. Like I was talking to Lou about this somewhere. They are reacting to the things that happened in the previous two films.
So
Yeah.
Which is something I rather like. They're people who are like, fuck this, fuck technology.
it's funny 'cause
technology just almost fucked us all over.
They're kind of similar to the villains that we're getting in Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Um, which I don't like. That part I don't have the problem. It's just like she can move at super speed and take out like 12 guys in like 4 seconds,
Right.
but then this dude, she needs to blow up the fucking building
So,
for a dude.
I do
again,
think
this guy
Go ahead,
pointed an
Hunter.
automatic
Wait.
rifle at children. That's I think what it is.
He had time.
No,
to,
no,
like,
but he
pick
had
the
it
gun
on.
up, though.
He didn't have it on automatic at first because
So-
he's a bad guy. He has to switch
right.
it.
Hunter,
ahead,
you
Hunter.
had something you want to say?
so. I think part of me thinks this is just my brain extrapolating what I think is happening here. I think at some point this was supposed to be like the Royal Flush Gang or something. Like
I could see that.
there was like,
that
and they
would
were
make
like,
way more
maybe,
sense.
yeah, it feels like maybe this was something else before it landed on
Yeah.
what it was.
To piggyback off that, like,
Yes.
how long did it take all of us collectively to realize that after BVS that asshole with the flamethrower was KG Beast?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I
Wait,
knew.
no, they
I
didn't
knew
make that clear
during.
at all.
I knew
Yeah.
during. Ha
Well,
I literally, I found out now.
Yeah.
wait, Lou, you
See?
didn't know that was KG?
Yeah, that's
Beast?
KG
Wow.
Beast, dude.
Yeah,
The
that's
guy who's
KG
also
Beast.
a Hydra agent in fucking Winter Soldier.
Yeah, he is.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Gets
take off my
murked-
headphones and walk
gets-
away for a second.
yeah, he's Rumblow's like second command in Winter Soldier.
He gets
yeah.
murked by Captain America and Batman in the same year, I
Yeah,
think, or like
yeah.
2 years apart. Like,
He dropped a building on him.
All right, so we've established a lot of the stuff we really liked about it. So, who wants to start with what they didn't like about?
I'll start. I got something.
I will.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, I have something because it's okay. So
Literally,
literally-
let's try and like keep it relatively short so everybody can get.
yeah,
their
no,
say in.
it's mine's very easy. It is like the superfluous stuff that I think we might all universally agree on once we start getting the ball rolling. But like most of the stuff I really, really didn't like was everything after the epilogue. And it's primarily the nightmare stuff. I think the nightmare stuff fucking sucks.
It's bad.
It's
It's
very
bad.
unnecessary.
I was
Yeah.
borderline on that, but yeah, I was
liked
kind of
it.
neutral because
Counterpoint, I liked it.
So here's the thing. I can
I like
understand
that it was
liking it,
kind
and
of,
there are aspects that I can understand. Like I actually liked seeing more of the Flash suit from the future. It made his like whole
Yeah, that shit
you
sucks.
have to protect Lois
Yeah,
scene
yeah.
from
I liked
BBS.
it, but
like,
also it sucks.
it still sucks, but it's like okay, I understand what he was wearing there now. It just I don't know. It just made it more.
I'm gonna say something controversial. I kind of liked Leto in that scene.
Yeah, he wasn't as
Yeah,
bad. He wasn't
hey,
as annoying.
hey,
No,
all right.
so-
Since I guess I have to hold on. Since I guess I have to be the one fucking breaking the glass ceilings in this fucking thing. Hey, I really like that scene. You guys can admit it now.
I liked it, but
Leto
okay,
was fine.
Andy,
No.
Andy, I'll tell you exactly why I don't like that sequence. Because the Batman Joker conversation, while interesting at moments, overall feels very rushed, and it feels very like surface level. Like it's Batman Joker. They're giving each other shit.
Right.
And then that led up to what Hunter had been waiting for weeks, which is Batman saying "fuck." And then he said it, and it was both. It was both
He should
exactly.
have said "fuck Robin."
I don't
That
even
would've
know
been
where
perfect.
he said it. I didn't even pick up
He said,
when
he
actually
said,
said
and
it.
I fucking will. That's what he says.
Oh yeah. So, also, it's
I-
unrealistic because Harley Quinn would be the last person to die. She would literally, it would literally be her versus the entire army of
In
Paris.
almost every post-apocalyptic DC future, she's always alive
Mm-hmm.
because she's hanging out with Poison Ivy.
So
Yeah, because
all right.
she's immortal. essentially.
let's not get lost in the weeds here. Who wants to go next on what they did?
So
like? Yeah.
I'll backing on that. I hate the nightmare sequence. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really because it kind of
one at the
highlights.
end,
Yeah,
or
the nightmare sequence
at all.
Yeah, I don't like it, and it highlights my main problem with this movie is that this should have been like a spin-off or something. This should not have been the big Justice League trilogy, like because this is the first one they did, and it's seemingly leading to a third movie where all of them have guns. Like,
it was Injustice.
and
Pretty
I
much.
get,
3.
I get why that would be appealing to people, and like why people would like that. But like
Right.
me personally, I'm like, I don't want this in a Justice League movie because it just doesn't. It doesn't feel right. I just don't enjoy it.
Oh, I can understand that.
Yeah.
I
agree.
go ahead.
Can I point out a few things? So some of the things I didn't like about this movie, this is like a minor one. There's a lot going on, which is like not too bad, which is a 4-hour movie, which I didn't mind too much. There's a lot of things going on, but I feel like there's he does the whole thing of like the nightmare stuff and like adding all these like Deathstroke and all these other characters that like don't do too much. They're not like too important to the main stuff. But I feel like if you're gonna bother to add in like the Deathstroke stuff and like Lex Luthor
and his Halo sword,
go a little further with it and like actually like have more setting up the Legion of Doom.
Well, the Deathstroke stuff was supposed to lead directly into the Affleck Batman film.
Yeah,
that never happened.
Oh yeah.
That was
that
was back when all this was bigger and interconnected before everything happened.
Honestly, though, I feel like instead of Deathstroke, I would have loved a scene that like showed Zoom, like Professor Zoom.
Yeah.
I wish even if he had a small presence in the movie, I would have loved it. Even if you like see him in the background or something, like
he's just
in my head. I'm just making Zoidberg noises in my head.
I mean, we can nitpick all we want, but like I do think like even like a drawing in the background of Ezra's base there, like some sort of indication of Zoom would have been cool. But I don't know. It's really sad.
Another character would have been interesting is like Vandal Savage would have been a fun play thing.
Sure,
he was there.
I'm always here for any version of Vandal Savage.
Yeah.
And he stabs Hawkeye or whatever his name is.
Even a Vandal Savage who was vaguely Eastern European and not very interesting.
Can I say another thing? This is just like my personal taste. I feel like Zack Snyder does put a lot of things in this movie where it's like all over the place. I feel like, why not go further and just set up a lot of fucking characters if you're gonna fucking do this? Like, just set up fucking many rapid fire, just like Hey,
Shout out to my
Giganta,
dude Ryan
fucking
Choi.
Grod.
Mm-hmm.
Giganta, Grod, Zatanna. Like, just fucking do it then. Go for it. Fucking send everybody.
Right.
Ambush bug.
Yeah, mention Homa, Louisiana.
Is it in your idea of the movie, like Superman shows up in the nightmare sequence and Bruce is like, "Thank God I brought all this backup." They pan over just like this ridiculous fucking group chat of all these C-list DC characters.
Ace the Bat Hound is there.
He's like, "Hello,
Yeah.
oh hello, John Constantine. What are you doing here?"
See, you're
Hello,
right.
Swamp Thing is a cactus.
That's
That's-
Death Metal, the new one that came out. Because
Yeah.
Batman has the Black Lantern ring, and he's literally like Jonah Hex is his lieutenant in his army.
That's
of,
actually
Okay,
pretty
that's-
sick. Yeah,
that's
I love
fucking
that.
Yeah.
That's
I
really
love that.
Hey, I would have loved I loved after like
yeah.
Joker is talking to Batman in the nightmare scene, they kind of like cut to like King Shark on a grill, just grilling up some like sausages.
only if it's the King Shark for. Well, actually, there's so many good King Sharks at this point.
They're all
Even in
good.
that
Yeah.
kind of a world.
Has not
All-
been a
all
bad
King
King
Sharks.
Shark yet.
All
Yeah.
King Sharks are good King Sharks.
Yes.
So, Andy, since you loved this movie, was there anything you didn't like about it that you wanted to bring up?
No. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Fucking.
You know what?
I mean, I do, but they're mostly nitpicks at this point.
Yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg fucking stinks like a dirty
Yeah,
dog
no,
hair
I
out my
don't
ass.
like
He's
him.
really
I
bad.
wanna punch him in the
Uh,
face.
Yeah.
That's a holdover from BVS almost. That's not
I
even this
wanna-
movie's fault.
I want to punch him in the mouth. I don't know why.
Although I do like the
Jesse
scene.
Eisenberg.
I do like the switch out scene, but then
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
wait,
I
is he
did
in
like that.
Arkham? Like, why the fuck is Lex Luthor in Arkham?
I think they arranged that in BVS just to fuck with him.
Yeah. I mean, that would.
I think Bruce arranges to send him to Arkham specifically to fuck with him, which I think is such a
Yeah.
fucking power move.
Well,
Well, yeah.
not to go too deep back into prior DC movies, but
Mm.
where did Batman versus Superman take place? Was it taking place in Gotham?
They're right
Both.
next to each
Take
other.
place in
Well, Gotham and
Both.
Metropolis
Yeah.
are twin cities, so it takes place. in
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
Gotham.
across the
Yeah,
harbor
just-
from each other.
Yeah.
I couldn't,
They
I
exist
couldn't
in the
remember.
same. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
my logic would be the reason why he would be in Arkham is because Metropolis still has to rebuild a ton of stuff. Like
That and, like-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I guess it's more like Arkham's not a prison.
well,
It's an asylum.
Arkham, especially at this point, like in the Batman timeline, like they say it's 20 years. Like Arkham
I mean,
at
yeah.
Batman timeline is a dumping ground.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, also, I mean,
It is a fucking dumping ground. You bring
Well,
these super
They
criminals there
do.
to
They do imply
rot
that.
away forever.
They do imply that Lex Luthor was like going insane because the
Yeah.
whole
I
like
mean,
water box
yeah.
thing. And, like,
What do you mean they implied? I watched him for 2.5 hours.
Well,
go,
yeah. He
Yeah,
belongs in Arkham. He needed fucking
yeah.
therapy.
Yeah. Deathstroke says like I heard you're a few clowns short of a circus.
mm-hmm,
yeah.
More
and
Joker
then he says he
references.
got better.
Sure,
Right.
but also
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, is there anything else that you didn't like about it, Andy?
yeah, just a few things that have been mentioned before, like
Mhm.
the Flash's arms.
Yeah.
All the slow motion.
I like so the Snyderisms, I went in expecting it. So like I was expecting, I will say, I think the first 15 minutes is like filled to the brim with slow motion. Like
Yes.
it's very noticeable there. So it can, like, if you don't push through the first 15 minutes, it can probably, if you don't make it there, it would be very grating. But I feel
Yes.
like through the rest of the movie, it's used pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the Snyderisms, like I knew they were gonna be like the melodrama, the fucking song covers, the
desaturation.
the desaturation,
Oh,
etc. The kind of heavy-handed imagery or whatever. So I was just like, whenever it got like too much for me, I just got a chuckle out of it. And then I just moved on. Like it wasn't. I know what I'm getting now. Like even I like the the Martian Manhunter stuff is
It's
or at least
pointless.
It's
the
kinda
first
weird.
one
Yeah.
is weird. It does. I won't say it's entirely pointless because there is some precedent to it because that character's because of Lois and his interactions within Man of Steel. and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like he sees the value in Lois.
Yeah. And they have even more of a relationship in the extended cut of BVS, which is
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that, so
It seems
and
seems
then-
like go ahead, sorry.
But and then the way I justify it in my head is like, yeah, I mean, March Manhunter is like a very like telepathic, like, you know, he can learn he can learn whatever he wants about someone. So like I feel like that would like I feel like it could have been to the point to where that was very much a genuine scene between Martha and Lois. Like I feel like it's not just simply like as maybe in this case not as simple as just changing physical appearance. Like he probably could have been watching Martha for a couple days or something and like done some
kind of creepy.
whatever and like
he talked to her about Oreos for like an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He changed into
I
Pa Kent and visited her at night.
Oh,
I'm
God.
on the same kind of vibe with you here because I said it before, like when he walks out and kind of has to take a moment before he transforms back into the military guy, like he puts his head down, like grabs the stairs, like he's burning off an emotional overload because he was probably kind of observing Martha and kind of seeing what was going on, and because he has vested interest in Lois, went to go talk to her under the guise of Martha and had to be convincing. So yeah, he probably did kind of peek into her head and see all of her. Just here's the thing that where Martha Manhunter, I'll call her, or Martha Manhunter, is like it's a very unique kind of grief to want to grab someone and say that was my son and I'm really proud of him. I audibly I was like,
I like that scene.
That was fucking crushing. And then to walk out and have it be, John, I was like, for him to do that, like that must have been really intense. So like I said, I did like the fact that he walked out and kind of had to sell it. But
isn't it one of his powers that he can kind of feel other people's emotions or something like that?
He's an empath.
Yeah,
kind of.
I would like to say like because just the way he's been in the other iterations, I don't feel like I'm hoping that's the case because I don't like the idea of him like kind of being manipulative. Like there is certainly a deception among him because he tries to stay hidden and whatnot. But he doesn't like. I don't like the idea of him being like emotionally manipulative and making Lois like open up the way she did or whatever. So I feel like it would have had to have been some sort genuine. And
I feel like the reason he's in his movie is like he's like a silent watcher who's like trying to like help everyone for some goal.
Well, yeah, I mean his big thing is he's always been trying to fit in his new home essentially. So I understand to an extent why he's doing it, but for me that kind of takes some of the emotional weight out of it when it's like, oh, it was John. It wasn't actually Martha
definitely.
talking about
that takes the emotional weight out of it, and then like 3 minutes later, Clark is back.
Yeah. Well, so and again, not to keep on bringing it up. I think I maybe undersold it. In the BVS extended cut, they really make it seem like they are friends, like they've gone out and like had drinks and like
it would make sense
heart to heart
with her being a military brat and who her dad is.
Yes,
right.
and the
events of MOS also as the things that happened in that movie. So
basically, Andy, like without giving away all like the fine details, like they build the relationship based on mutual trust throughout BVS because they keep giving each other chances to do the right thing, and each one does right by each other. So by the end of the movie, they have a very strong bond, like through through trying to do the right thing mutually, and it's actually one of my favorite things about BVS. Those two.
It's a criminal thing, much like a lot of stuff we see here. Where it's like, I don't understand why this was ever removed because it added so much pathos and character to a movie that is very shallow in some places.
I'll go back and check that out, especially now knowing that that character is Martian Manhunter.
They did make me. This movie did make me hate BVS a little less.
Especially
the movie's not perfect, but Yeah.
There are still things about BVS that I will
No,
forever
I
be
agree,
angry about. I
but-
will die angry about the horse's speech. We don't need to get into it. I will be on my grave talking about the horses.
Hold
So,
on, Arlen.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So you're gonna die just like John Kent did.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Aaron,
Just
do you
die
know,
angry at the
Andy,
world.
do you remember when
horse?
Clark goes up on the mountain and he sees the
Yeah.
ghost of John Kent, and John Kent
Yeah.
is like, "You gotta let horses die sometimes, Clark.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta kill horses that are downstream to save your horses from drowning."
You gotta know if the lame horses die because they're people who can't lift themselves up by their bootstraps.
Because you can't save everybody, Clark.
I wonder what
You
the
need to-
alternate lines of that scene are.
There she is.
You can't let women vote sometimes, Clark.
Sometimes, and it's
Sometimes women can go to space.
it's
Or
all
sometimes
set up
black-
later on, he
black people need a separate
sacrifices
MLB
himself, but-
baseball
Hold
league.
on.
I need a different drinking fountain.
Hold on. I really want at some point to get just fucking shit hammered and just go and re-record all of John Kent's like monologue in the spaceship.
Yeah.
Like Jor-El's giving him great advice, and John Kent's like, "Black people shouldn't have rights," and he's just like, he's like, "Wow, you're making this choice really easy for me, Dad."
He's like, sometimes black people need their own baseball league.
That's a good segue to something
everybody
I don't
equal,
like.
Clark.
I don't
Well,
like
no,
about
I
this
don't think-
movie.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So
I think we should finish up this round of like if anybody else has any like real pitfalls in the movie, because I don't think we got
Well,
to everybody yet.
Yeah. Who
I
hasn't
was-
gone?
Lou hasn't.
yeah, I was just say like I was so shocked during the scene when he's going to pick out his suit. So I'm like, this is the first time in any medium where Jor-El is the good guy, the good cop.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so
Which is-
off-putting.
Yeah,
And I know it goes back to the other movies. It's
right.
It's-
It makes
it's
it
weird.
makes the choice to have Jonathan be the dick extra weird.
yeah, it's so
Can
weird.
I do like an impression of like so it's like Jor-El's like, you have to take these people for their imperfections and still protect them, and then Paul Kent's like, there's only two genders, Clark.
Oh my god.
Fuck them, Clark. They shouldn't be
Sometimes
able to
what's
vote.
what's good for the majority is not good for everyone.
There's the one other nitpick I have. Me and Arlo were talking about earlier is like that Avengers-esque scene at the end
Yes.
kills
where
me.
they're on the smokestack or whatever.
Yeah,
For some
I'm just
reason.
like,
Yeah.
I'm like black suit,
And the
black
muted
suit.
colors and the like,
Metal suit, red
yeah.
metal suit, darker red metal
Yeah.
suit,
You know,
gun metal suit.
you know what? Actually, like this isn't something that bothered me, but it's something that I thought about throughout the whole entire movie. Cyborg's just hanging around these guys naked. Like he's just not wearing
Yeah.
clothes.
Well, he doesn't have a dick, okay?
I mean,
Yeah.
that's an argument for why he should
Well, hold on.
something closer to the comics. I mean,
We don't know that.
No, we know that. We see him.
No,
He's an
hold on.
arm
He
and a
has
face.
no-
It
And
could
half
be
a
like-
face.
Hold
Oh,
on.
it's like a USB drive.
Yeah,
He
but-
has
Well,
no.
okay, so
he has
question.
no organic.
how
dick.
does Cyborg
Yeah.
pee? How
He doesn't. He doesn't
need
pee.
to.
Alice's
How does he
ass,
eat?
you idiot.
you guys aren't thinking wide enough. It could be he has like a robotic cloaca.
Yeah. And I
What
want
comes
to see
out
that
of it?
thing.
He
Yeah.
doesn't need to eat or like, you know.
Yeah, no.
Anything.
It's he just that would be
I don't
leftover
think I-
humanity.
Well, if anybody came over from a movie, I'm sure you now know who the Eldritch Being is.
I don't know if I actually said a thing that I didn't like. I mean, this isn't the movie's fault. I fucking hate the Atlantean stuff in this. I hate just about all of it.
Kinda
I like
boring.
Yeah,
Jason.
and like I
And,
understand
I mean,
because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
two distinct creative visions that are like
Yeah.
like unintentionally competing with each other because
Yes.
the way Snyder sees how the Atlanteans look and talk is completely different from how James Wan would then like retcon them to be essentially.
To be
And,
a-
like,
Fucking dope.
And yeah, I think the Wan stuff is just unquestionably better.
I think I will.
Yeah.
I will compare it to Thor 1 to what we
Yeah.
get of Asgard in that
Yes.
to Asgard and
Yes.
every other thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's like again, it goes to like that color palette thing. Is like how much fucking better would that shot be if Momoa is in that Aquaman costume?
No,
Oh,
Or
he's
even,
wearing
or even if his
jeans, dude.
costume isn't like this, like dark green. If it was like bright in some way,
Yeah, it's just
and
like
it was,
they would differentiate so much better, and like that's
Yeah.
where like the color palette and like the tones, like it just takes away from those scenes.
Yeah, and
Well,
a lot of the that stuff just made me like, I just want to watch Aquaman now. I just want to watch how fucking crazy that shit is. Yeah,
to
That movie's so
piggyback
good.
on what Arlen is saying, the Atlantean scenes, like, they didn't bother me as much as they did you, Arlen, but
yeah.
I want
lighting
Amber
was-
Heard dead after this performance.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Yeah.
I mean,
Why is she doing that
I'll say
accent?
that
Why is she
they
doing
helped
like a
her
Keira
by
Knightley
fixing
accent?
the British accent, because Jesus, that accent does not help her.
She
at
sounds
all.
I
like
wanna
she's
make it-
LARPing.
I agree. However, honestly, you just put like a mop, like with a picture of a face, and just puppeteer some hands.
No,
That's
you
all I
spray
need.
paint that
Oh,
mop.
hold
with
on,
the
wait. That's all I would need for that sequence where she pulls Steppenwolf's blood out of his fucking.
Dude,
face.
yeah, I wanted to bring
Oh,
that
my
up.
God.
Holy
There's cool
shit!
stuff in there, but she is so
Well, that's 'cause-
wooden.
That's because Mara is a cool fucking character, and
Yeah.
they do that character so fucking dirty. It is
Yeah.
insane. So wait, her job is to watch this thing that just normally just sits there,
She's really bored
That's her
all the
job.
time.
and also like she's like, "Oh, my parents are dead." Don't we see her dad in Aquaman?
Well,
Yeah.
again, that's one of those things.
I
where it's
know,
like,
I
who
know, but like
cares?
it's
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? That's not canon now. Like,
No,
Well,
that's,
and,
that's
like-
alternate universe before Flash Reverse Time. I don't know.
yeah. Why
Also-
does Arthur show up there?
because
Reasons?
He's there. He's wearing his jeans. Do you notice
He
that
has
he's
the-
wearing
he has the
fucking
script,
jeans?
He's got the script.
well, I mean, he is from New England, Hunter. You would know. You would have
Listen.
some insight there.
Wait,
No
Oh,
one has
right.
ever seen my knees. That's all I'm saying.
Arthur Kerr is the only like
Hunter, what are you
Polynesian
talking
in New
about?
England
Your
that's
knees
not
are
on the
the only thing-
Patriots.
Hunter,
Yes.
your knees are the only thing most people can see of you. Okay.
It's eye level.
Oh, can
Before
we?
Before you break the
Go ahead.
cloud, like that's all they can see. Is your fucking
would
knees.
say,
Like,
I hated this in particular, but you guys have pretty much hit most of the things that I dislike. In defense of the nightmare sequence, I actually didn't mind Leto's performance as Joker this time.
Yeah,
think
he
it's-
was
I
less
think-
annoying than the previous one.
Yeah.
less annoying. I also like some of the things he said just as spoken dialogue, like the line about like
Except reach
I
around.
often one. No,
Yes.
not no.
No,
I thought that
The
was kinda dumb.
witnessing of the, like, oh, he
It's
knows loss.
How many? No, it was How many different timelines do you destroy the world? Like, I wonder, like, how destructive are you, and like, how many
Oh.
time can you watch someone die before you just break?
It's even more worse than that. He says, "How many timelines do you choose to live?" And it destroys the world.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
also what he says too. Yeah, how many?
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
because
If you
because
just died,
you would just die. Things would get so much better. And Bruce has
Well-
no solid
well,
retort.
and that goes to the thing I love, and they do it all the time in the comics. And the other Snyder has done it a lot, which is like, Bruce that we have was one of the worst versions of Bruce, because if he just took his money and just invested it in Gotham, it would not be shitty.
Well, okay, people say that, and that's a valid point in our real world. But Gotham's cursed. Read the books.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
well, the other Scott Snyder has done in the books. It's like, oh, there's like Bruce that has. It's like, oh, if you invested in Gotham, it would be better than Metropolis. And like they have, and other writers have done that. It's just like he's fucking broken. Batman is insane. He's a crazy person.
Well, the thing is, that's true, but Gotham is a fucking product of his environment and his city. Like, he's not a perfect hero because they fucking murdered his parents when he was a kid. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
I
He's
say
the
this
best, he's
as
the best
someone.
they're gonna get. He's not
I
perfect.
love
but-
Batman. I'm a Batman fan. The Batman in my head is like a complete like psychopath. Like,
Yeah,
No,
because-
he's nuts.
because Gotham City is fucked up and like
oh,
not
see,
gonna create a
in my
perfect
head,
hero.
like Gotham City's a reflection of him, not the other way around.
I think he's
Um,
a reflection of Gotham City. Like that city made him. Like Batman wouldn't
It's-
exist in like Central City or fucking.
There's
It's
a
a
lot.
little
There's a lot of
column A, little column
philosophical.
B.
Yeah, we could have a
Yeah.
lot of long.
yeah.
We're
I,
in the
I,
weeds.
I wanted to.
Gotham
I wanted to
City is
carry
cursed by a shaman. Read the books,
One
y'all.
last-
Anytime you want to come on the comic show, we can do a whole podcast.
Yeah.
About this.
Oh my
The
god,
one,
you two! Fucking stop kissing.
The last thing I wanted to point out about the
No
nightmare
kiss.
sequence is I wonder how quickly did they have to get rid of that Joker using the in a society or we live in a society.
The first trailer came out and Zach's like, nope.
Yeah. Yeah, because
either that
Acid
happened,
that he loves so
either
much.
that happened, or it was just them. Yeah, it was just them riffing. Or what I want to
Right.
believe is that it was an absolute troll move by fucking Snyder. He's like, put that in the
Yeah,
trailer.
that's
It'd
kind
be
of
so
what I'm
fucking
thinking.
funny.
Somebody posted in
honestly.
I
Pixels
respect
that it was
that.
an ad lib by.
That never
Leto.
happened. That was a Mandela effect.
I can look. Someone posted an article that Snyder said it was an ad lib by Leto, and he loved it. And my immediately comment was like, "That's why it's not in this cut." Yeah, I'll pull it up, or I'll look it up and drop it in the chat.
But I wanted to talk about it's one of my favorite parts of the movie, and he's only in it for about, I don't know, 3 fucking minutes. When Superman shows up to take Steppenwolf's lunch money, it's just like I whooped the entire time. Like, it's so fucking satisfying to watch him fly in, and his first line is not impressed, and then just slaps the shit out of Steppenwolf.
Oh,
like
the best one is like what we've seen from the axe, and he just like blows on it and like flicks it, and it's gone. It's just like that's just like immediate. It's again show don't tell. Like, that's how fucking powerful.
And like all of his moves, like before he gets on the ground, are like these. Nothing too grandiose. Like, the kick he gives him is like something it's like he's kicking a kickball. Like, he's like, and Steppenwolf fucking flies 4 miles. I'm like, this is so goddamn entertaining. And then when he gets him on the ground and just starts just giving him Indian burns and just taking his lunch and spitting in his eye, like
he's like you're gay.
He farts in his eye and gives him pink eye.
It's a fucking embarrassment. And the difference between this time and in 2017, like, they establish in this version that Clark is the only one strong enough to go one-on-one with him and not get murdered. And in the 2017 version, they're just like, he's strong, and now he is suddenly not. And everyone just beats him.
In the 2017, they don't even do the stuff with like, oh, why did the mother boxes awake? It's like, well, because he's gone. Like, that's how fucking strong. Like, that stuff I love. I love the scream.
Yes, Superman's presence looms over the whole fucking movie, even though he's barely in it. And the whole, the setup of the events is like, Kryptonian died, and the mother boxes are like, fucking ding ding, everybody. And then like when Steppenwolf is facing down Superman, he's got no quips, he has no tricks, he has nothing to say, he has no smart ass comments, he can't threaten him or intimidate him like he did with Diana and Arthur, and he just gets his fucking ass kicked.
He's just like, stop it!
Really,
Stop!
it's really fucking satisfying.
Tell them all.
Yeah.
I also don't think he had any quips or anything to say because hubris at that point, because he was so convinced that the plan was going to go according to plan that he didn't think that this one person could take him out, because I don't think he realized what he was messing with at that point.
In many ways, it doesn't even matter, because it's that whole, if it's not for Flash, he still wins. Steppenwolf still wins, getting the shit kicked out of him.
That was the thing I noticed right away with the final fight scene, was just how much better it was with all of the additional content that was in here.
Because
Batman,
like I said,
does Batman shit in this movie.
And like I said, Batman is playing defense on the outside, keeping Barry safe, and then Diana and Arthur and then Clark together are there to keep Steppenwolf away from Victor. And I'm like, that is exactly what they should be doing, because they can hit, like, they're the hardest hitters, and like they're doing keep away, and they're doing keep away by fucking hitting home runs with him across this fucking this silo. It's awesome.
Because my memories of the 2017 cut were just, all right, this is happening. Oh, now they're all fighting him. Like, this actually had like logical progression up to this final fight. And
everybody's strengths are played to, and I don't think anyone's like individual role is like insignificant.
Nobody's minimized.
No, not at all.
And to see
the
them work like a
balances make a lot more sense.
And to see them work
D&D
together
party.
Exactly. Seeing them work together in this version was so much more satisfying for, obvious reasons, but like, especially during the final battle, like in the 2017 version, when Diana runs over to save Arthur, I'm like, I don't give a shit. No. But in this version, because they have that conversation where they're like, oh, our cultures are too different, and like suddenly, they're like, yeah, we have the same saying. They're like,
oh my
oh,
God,
like
this movie's so good.
we're actually
Well,
connected
even-
in some way.
Even
Andy,
again,
I'm
like,
going to figure out time travel and bring this back to you to listen to, just so you can be like, this is
Dude,
bullshit. This
please.
is bullshit.
Please, that'd be so.
Yeah,
no,
and,
I
like,
believe it.
So like that goes back to the things that they did earlier. Like I even prefer the way that they do the Superman is alive again sequence.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much better.
It's very small stuff where like they really make everybody seem like just utter chumps in the 2017 cut. And because they make it seem like Diana can go much more toe to toe with Clark, at the end where she's losing, it feels more important. It feels more like a.
Oh, they make Superman so much scarier with the Flash shit, because it's not just the head turn. It just is like, I see you, fling. Now we're gonna fight in super speed.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. The thing about the Superman Returns sequence that really made me love it was that, okay, one, I had to dig on Elfman's score once again. There's no more of those stupid fucking audio callbacks, and like how bad that sequence felt when I hear. And this, like, when he turns his head, like they played the Zod theme.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh,
know that.
I didn't know that.
The music in the background, that sequence is Zod's overture.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean that is.
we
cool.
didn't speak about. We haven't spoken on it at all. The Junkie XL soundtrack is excellent.
Oh,
Well,
way better.
Yes, but I'll say this. So, kind of going off what Connor just said, he's using a lot of Zimmer notes. He's using a lot of Zimmer references, and I actually think that works better. I understand what Elfman was going for, and that's really my only defense of him in that context. But I actually prefer using a lot of stuff that Zimmer had already established in MOS.
Well, everything you hear in this that's a repeat is like an evolution. So like when I say like this is Zod's theme, it's not quite Zod. Like it is the Zod, like the strings, and then like some altered percussion, along with some notes from the Man of Steel theme. And like I was like, aesthetically, this is already a much more intriguing fight because like from a musical perspective, you're telling me now he could potentially be as bad as a fucking dude who just helped destroy a city. I'm like, now he's terrifying. Now he's absolutely terrifying.
Well, and that's the thing that I think makes a huge difference, because I mean that entire scene played out pretty much exactly the same. Like I don't think there was a whole lot of additional stuff added to that, at least shot wise. Am I incorrect?
It's all very small stuff. It's like it's like character reactions and how much things affect them. Again, like Diana's reaction to getting headbutted that first time just feels different. It plays differently. It seems like she's about to like faint. From my memory of the 20, I haven't seen it in a while.
Also, when
my memory is that she's almost KO'd immediately. In this, it takes 2 hits, and that second hit is a fucking crazy.
Well, and she gives one back too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
In the 2017 version, also, Flash is seemingly removed from the fight entirely. You don't see him again, and Arthur is backhanded and never seen again. In this version, they both get multiple instances trying to take him down.
Hold on, I don't. Did they do the "Do you bleed" line in this?
No, that was going to be my other question.
Oh,
that
okay.
was mercifully removed.
Snyder's gone on record saying that he fucking hated that line, and he's not going to use it. It's also like in that sequence, he's like, I don't remember any of you people. Oh, wait, you, I remember you, and I'm going to kill you by identifying you specifically. And in this, it's like, it's a vague memory of someone who caused him a lot of pain, and he's just acting up. And he's like, I'm just like, all I know is my gut is telling me that you have caused me some kind of,
he's
some kind of injustice. And so I'm going to take out my confusion on you.
To rewind a little bit, so with you saying that the Flash was barely present in the 2017 cut, am I misremembering, or did that entire like slow motion fight between him and Clark?
That happened.
Okay, it did happen because
it did happen. It was shorter.
Okay,
it's way shorter.
It's like the length. It's very small stuff. It's how long these fights take place and what actually happens.
Well, that was gonna go back to my point that Connor was making, is that the soundtrack made that scene more memorable to me, because like I said, like I don't remember a lot of that happening in the 2017 cut, so it all seemed like it was brand new, and I think a lot of that had to do with the new soundtrack. Like that made everything that was happening in there seem more kinetic, more dire, if you will.
Yeah,
Like it just
it's weird.
just worked.
It's weird that the movie Junkie XL did, where Hans Zimmer wasn't working on it, has more Hans Zimmer music in it than BVS. I don't know
And
how that math works out, but it felt more like the MOS score, and the MOS score is maybe one of the most beautiful compositions in
Yeah.
the
Yes.
last decade
It's
of film.
such a great theme.
And yeah, like it was very, the music in this just like it was so good. It was what I would have expected from any Junkie XL movie at this time.
Yeah, and when Clark
Yeah.
comes back to fight Steppenwolf, it's the Man of Steel theme. But if you go and listen to it without all the music, like the movie effects and everything, when you hear it isolated, it's that. But like he's got these uplifting guitars, and the percussion is a little different. Like he upgraded the fucking theme to make it seem like it's a second coming of this character. It's really
Big Dick is back in town.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I'm gonna put out-
oh, go ahead, Hiza.
Make a little aside, I guess. One of my favorite parts about VBS, because like I didn't like BVS, but I liked the Bruce and Alfred stuff, and like fucking Jeremy Irons' outfit is just like one of my favorite things.
He
about
might be
it.
the best live action Alfred.
I mean, so in the same way that Ray was very justified in being angry, he was very angry about how his version of the character was treated in the 2017 cut. That's like older now, but he was pissed off by the 2017.
That goofy scene, which I totally get why it's cut with him and Diana with a T, is so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's so unnecessary, but it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I like that so much for the characters and for him.
Yes, and also I want to add the fact that like there's no stupid
you really cut out bad there.
Yeah,
I think you said there's no stupid
the condoms melted and the fucking
Sammy Davis's eyeball was pointed somewhere else.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You said I cut out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All the characters acting like a team in this movie and getting to know each other and developing a relationship, and like watching Alfred go from where he was in Batman vs Superman to being like much more optimistic, as well as Bruce going from someone who was this murdering shithead to finding some form of faith again. I was like, this is all making this so much more enjoyable. And like Alfred at some point went from like, oh, now you're officially too old to die young, you drunk dickhead, and to this, and like he's like congratulating. He was like, you did it. Like you brought these people together. Like you didn't think you could. I didn't think you could, and you fucking did it anyway. There's just so much, like we said, this movie is so much more hopeful and has so much more optimism, just hanging out in areas you wouldn't think it is, and it's so good.
Yeah, the press I feel like in a lot of the 2017 stuff, all the stuff regarding Superman feels super unearned in regards to like both Bruce's and his relationship, and then the world's relationship with him. In this one, it feels much less on like a worldwide scale that Superman was like incredibly revered. Like it was just kind of like, I mean, people did admire him. Like Flash even says, he was my hero. But it's not shit like fucking newspaper clippings asking if Superman and David Bowie and Prince all went back to their fucking home planet. And like the way it feels in this movie, at least, is very much like, this guy saved our asses. Thank you.
And in the 2017 version, the idea of bringing him back, we pretty much stuck at being leaders. Let's just bring him back from the dead, whether he asked for it or not. And it makes it seem super nasty and cynical and just lazy. And in this, they're like, Steppenwolf's the most powerful being who's ever stepped foot in this planet, except for one guy. And they all kind of look at him and go like, oh, okay, we're all thinking about the same weird thing.
Well, it's not even that. It's that the mother box tells them that Superman is the only thing that can defeat that.
Well, I was gonna say, like, that's one of the scenes I really loved, because it's like, again, it's like one of the best Barry scenes. It's like, who's gonna say it? I don't know. And then
Yeah.
it's Victor that just shows the image. It's again
And
great
Yeah.
show
yeah.
don't tell.
And again, the way they use that Zimmer fucking score
Yeah.
and the fucking the way that it rises as the table circles around, just yeah.
Something I did want to get back to real quick was how when Superman came back, he was actually scary. I think the thing that really kind of drove that home more so was like once he
chest
flew.
hair?
No, once he once he flew off with Lois, and like they landed, and he said something to her. She's like, "Oh, you're speaking." He's like, "Oh, I wasn't." Like the fact that he was so lost in wherever he was when he came back from the dead that he was just this raw nerve that's just like, "Who are you? Who are you? You're a threat. Oh, I know who you are, motherfucker." Like,
thank you for bringing that up because like
I didn't even notice that line, but that's great. Yeah,
the conversation continues because she keeps saying stuff to him, and he kind of like as the conversation goes on, he kind of has these more and more committal and confident answers. Like,
he's not back until he says the thing about the ring.
You see the bread baking and slowly expanding,
and like he's looking around. He's like, I kind of know where this place is, but I don't know why. And then like I think it's when he puts the shirt on, and he's like, she says, "Your mother loved it here," and he goes, "No, we loved it here." And she's like, "Yes, there you are." And he's like, "No," and he's butting in. He's like, "No, we loved it here. I loved it here."
Which I'd like to point out that was the point where I realized that Lois was a robot, because there is no woman on the face of the planet who would see Tom Cavill with his shirt off and be like, "No, you need to put a shirt on."
Tom Cavill.
Tom Cavill.
Honestly,
Jesus
Eric,
Christ.
there's no
Tom Cavill.
There's no human.
We would all be like, yeah, keep your shirt off.
It's like
Henry Cage.
It's like I said earlier in the group chat is I imagine Jason Momoa and Henry Cavill were just looking at each other with their shirts off and going like, "Look at us. Look at us."
Yes.
Like,
how are we how is this possible?
I feel like it's kind of the fun but like different version of what was it, Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth, where it's like one got jacked and it was like, I gotta beat him, and then wasn't it like Evans that was like, I can't do it anymore?
Yeah, he was like, I want to eat a fucking cheeseburger, dude.
Well, my favorite is Downey getting bulked up after that.
I do want to go on with something that Connor said before about the teamwork. One of the things that was cut, and it's fucking so. It goes back to the Cyborg stuff, and it's an Aquaman scene with Flash when he's just like, oh man, it's like he's a kid and he just lost his dad, and so I was like, oh, like is he like when he's like, oh, is he okay? It's like, oh yeah, he seems like he's okay. It's like he's a kid, he just lost his dad. It's like, I thought you didn't care. It's like, I never said that. It's like that scene shows like Arthur's humanity and like care for other characters, and that doesn't exist without all the fucking cyborg
everything.
shit.
And I like that they don't need to. I like that they don't need to say anything, but you see it in the way that they perform. Even though I don't know how much of this was established already, the way that they're playing the characters, you get the sense that they both feel it from their own personal stuff. We all know their other stuff, you know, Arthur
the dad
with his
stuff.
mom and Barry with his dad. But it's in their faces, and it's the way that they play it, where they get it. They get what he's going through.
Well, is Arthur's dad alive at this point?
Yeah.
But his mom is, as far as he knows, his mom is
okay. Because I had been taking like the stuff that his dad was also dead.
No. Near the end of the movie, he says he's going to go see his dad.
I thought that meant he was going to go see his grave.
The biggest difference with his dad is that they insinuate that his dad is maybe Atlantean, which is clearly not the case.
Weird.
Oh, I don't know. He says he's half human.
Because Mira in her terrible fucking accent says something about knowing
like Atlanta raised me. She was such a great person.
Yeah, knowing his mother.
He has a line where he's like, my dad told me this thing about Atlantis. And yeah, that could be something that he heard from his mom while they were
fucking.
Yeah, while they were just
that's some interesting
24/7.
Yeah.
But it does come off as a thing that you would know from
our history.
No,
I think you're extrapolating far too much.
No, because his dad says the thing that him and Diana connect about. That's right. His dad is the one that tells him that thing about.
My thought is, I'm guessing he's telling him based on what Alana told him. Because from my memory, even in the Aquaman movie, Alana's never knows his mom.
No, I know. I'm just saying his dad is the one that says in Atlantis they say this as if he's been to Atlantis, and I know it could be a thing that Atlanta said to him.
Well,
but
he also fell into the
the
Sarlacc
ATL?
pit, and
Yeah, exactly. And then Dengar had to save him. Yeah.
But it's like it's a very small thing, but it's like. Yeah,
I think, Arlen, no offense, I think this is one of those, like, you're going off in a very far tangent.
No, this is the thing that he says in the movie.
No,
I
he
get
definitely
that.
says that his dad told him, but I think it's like a bedtime story. In my mind, it's a bedtime story that his dad is telling him based on stuff he learned from Atlanta.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the weeds that we always get threatened.
Again,
Yeah.
we don't need to keep going here. I'm just saying, like, it's weird. It comes off as weird to me.
Worded, it's worded and written not great.
Yeah.
Yes, and it
But,
could.
I mean,
yeah,
I'm just saying, like, you are given the exact line from Mira saying, like, I knew your mother. Like, and Mira has not spent any time up on the surface.
You said it wrong. I knew your mother.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you like a spot?
I knew your mother.
Do not make fun of Prince
Don't get me
Andrew.
started on Mira again.
Meghan Markle is a demon
It's
woman.
a simple fix. It could be that Volko. It could be that he said it. It wouldn't be that hard.
No, I think he's talking about Volko.
Oh my god! Let's get the fuck off of this.
Let's get off
talking.
of this subject,
He
please.
says his
Please.
spot. Okay, we can move on. I'm really not trying to keep on this, but
It's the fucking Wonder Twins and the fucking monkey all over again.
what else were we talking about?
Oh,
I can't
God.
even remember where we were before this.
I was gonna say I was gonna build off.
We were talking about Tom Momoa's beautiful muscles.
Tom?
Tom Momoa?
Yes.
Tom Momoa.
Yes, call back, motherfuckers. Yes.
I get it.
Yeah, we were talking about Superman, and we were kind of spiraling off into like a conversation about like how the interactions in this movie kind of made everything, it elevated everything, and like we already talked about the final battle and how they were working together, but there were some nuances even in there where like when Arthur runs up to help Diana with the lasso. Like, for some reason, that stood out as a fuck yeah moment to me, and I don't know why, because, like, I think it's because the 2017 version burned into this idea that Arthur is just this non-cooperative dickhead.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a tool.
So to see him in this edition where he's like he's going out of his way to be a fucking like an awesome pal in the final battle, it's awesome.
Well, that is another thing that is in the final battle, but I can see what you would say. Like, it does stand out more, him actually helping out because
now
his
is a great
character
synonym
more
for
in this version.
Because their relationship was built on more than just like here they are standing together. Please feel something,
right?
And like I do like the fact that like Diana and Arthur were paired up a lot, and that Flash and Cyborg were paired up a lot, and Batman is kind of the one not really latching on to anybody in particular because it would be Superman.
Yeah.
It's more like he's just in the background, like, yeah, good job, everybody. Yeah, Daddy's rooting for you. Like,
you reminded me of something I didn't like. Sorry, Eric.
No, that's something they establish with prior scenes in the movie. Is that why having Aquaman and Wonder Woman working together makes more sense and has greater weight because they established that the Amazons and the Atlanteans didn't work together ever again after that big battle. Like, so it works in that sense. And the same thing with the Flash and Cyborg, that they're like the most unproven of the heroes. Exactly. Like they're the best audience surrogates we have. So it makes sense to have them working together. And yeah, like you pointed out, like Batman's partner in crime would be Superman, and he's not in most of the movie. So it just it works and makes sense based on everything they've established.
On the Flash and Cyborg thing, that was like the two characters that managed to get chuckles out of me when they were joking around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I felt like they were the most relatable because they were like, when they're like,
I do
oh, yeah,
like,
do you think Diana goes for
younger guys?
Yeah,
she's thousands of years old. Everyone's
every guy's a younger guy.
So good.
Well, it's because they're like normal. They're technically both like just dudes that get like kind of thrown into this. Where Bruce is a billionaire, Superman's a alien god, and Diana's a goddess, and Arthur's a heir to the throne of some kind of weird species.
He's a water boy.
Yeah.
Boba Fett had a fish wife.
I do want to say the one relationship thing I didn't like, and I don't remember if it's in 2017 cut. It's the hand touch scene. with Bruce and Diana. Is that in the theatrical cut?
Oh
what do
no,
you
I
mean?
don't think it was. When
I-
they both reach for the mouse.
I despise
Oh.
that. I was like, don't no. Just
Okay, in the 2017 version, they are way more flirty.
Yeah.
In
I
fact,
don't want any of
there's,
it.
there's whole sequences I just remember in that movie where like it's one of the worst looking sequences involving the Batsuit where like Bruce is taking off all of his stuff and like it looks like he's taking off a Hollywood costume. It's
I
fucking
forgot.
bad. And like Diana
Yeah.
comes
Beat the
in
shit.
and still like in like either warrior garb or like very... oh my god, Jesus
You
Christ.
broke me, Eric.
Anyway, and Diana walks in like still in like her armor and shit for some reason and just starts rubbing Bruce's shoulders. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It's only
Yeah,
creepy because
yeah.
of this version of Bruce that they've established, who's much older and just even though she's supposed to be thousands of years old, it still feels wrong.
It's just like he's
creepy,
not
and-
who I like. They don't have that like in any version of what we're seeing right in in these movies. Like that. Why wouldn't she be hanging out with him more? When the movie starts, she's in wherever the fuck she is, London.
So, do any of you guys know the extent of how far Snyder's plans were going to go involving Clark, Bruce, and Lois specifically?
Yep.
I think most of us know the basis.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. Maybe you
But-
should.
Basically, the gist was that Lois was indeed pregnant after she goes and gets that. We see the test in the movie, which we didn't bring up, but real fast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
Lois
the
is
force
pregnant.
majeure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lois is pregnant, and at some point, someone puts it in Clark's ear that it might be Bruce's. And this is one of the things that lead. Yeah, this is where I was like, these are early storyboards that probably don't exist anymore. I think this is like all based on stuff from like way early in development. And I guess what was supposed to happen is that one of the big reasons that like Darkseid succeeds in dismantling them is because like he kills Lois like in the midst of this big debate over who the daddy is, and I'm like, what is this fucking Maury?
My favorite.
And then I guess later on, like it's revealed, like no, Clark
Batman
was
does
always
a
the dad.
backflip.
God damn it.
He does a swim and disappears.
But I guess like afterwards, like someone's been like, oh yeah, no, like there was never any doubt that Clark was a father. And I guess to correct this timeline later down the line, does time travel, gives the information to Bruce correctly. Lois is the key. And in the sequence where Darkseid was to kill Lois, Batman takes a shot instead and gets hit with the Omega beams and dies.
Okay. Oh, so they're gonna pull that from Grant Morrison's Final Crisis.
Can I
Yeah.
say something? I feel like I wouldn't like that whole story if it played out, but the only payoff that could make it work is like, so let's say like, yeah, there's a paternity fucking dispute, and they're like, oh shit, Bruce might be the father, and then it causes the whole fucking like Dark Superman timeline where like she dies and Superman's kind of evil, and all this shit happens, and then like at the very last moment, like most people are dead. Maybe Flash is like the only one alive. He's like, oh my god, how could this happen? And then like Zoom shows up. It was me, Barry. I took Batman's cum and put it in love.
What's like it
I just-
flashes?
I just like the idea of like a picture of a baby wearing a Batman cowl and Batman being like, "That baby don't even look like me. What are you talking about?"
Oh,
He puts a mask on the baby.
That's my chin.
I can't breathe.
He's got your money. He's got your money.
He's got your money.
He's giving a bunch of stuff in cash.
You tell me Bruce's wealth could be passed genetically?
Yeah.
Yes.
he comes money.
50s. He makes it rain.
Here comes money and white privilege.
Oh, do we want to try to maybe get to the end of this now?
I was
No.
gonna say, did we want to
No.
get to our our final opinions
I
on the
still
movie?
got
mean,
more
I'm-
stuff to say.
I mean, I'm kind of with
Yeah.
Andy that I have more, but I don't have the
There's a
physical
lot.
energy to do
There's a
so.
lot of
Thanks.
movie. It's 4 hours.
Yeah, and I feel like we're continuing to circle around the same things, just in different
Can we
ways.
talk
We're getting
about how some of the action, like there's a lot of good action.
there. Mhm.
Like Zack Snyder can do some cool action, even though a lot of slow motion and stuff. But I like a lot of the Batman stuff. Like he does. Okay, in the other movies, like in the other version of this movie, Batman didn't do enough like for me, and I didn't like it. But like in this
No,
one, he does a lot
he
of
does.
Batman shit.
He does fuck all in the 2017
Yeah.
version. Okay,
Other than trying to
And-
kill himself.
in this, yeah,
Right.
and in this, like he is going hand to hand with parademons left and right, and he's like, I don't give a fuck where you're from.
Yeah.
And like at some
Can I
point,
say-
Yeah.
On the
Mhm.
flip side, in the fight, where's the Striker Island? Is that the base?
Yeah.
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 What the fuck does Flash do? Like when they're escorting, like what is he
Okay,
actually
I
what is he doing?
I really wanted to talk about this. In the original release, like I feel like there's some good characterization here. In the original cut, for some fucking reason, Barry's being a little bitch, and Batman has to like give him a pep talk.
Yeah, he does.
And he's like,
Save one
"Hey,
person."
just go in there, save one person, and then go from
Yep.
there. Maybe you'll vibe with it or whatever." In this one, Barry's the first one to fucking cross that broken bridge. And he's like immediately in there trying to save people or whatever.
Well,
he's still-
Bruce tells him like you need to go save them, and that's all he says. He doesn't give him.
Yeah,
a pep
then
talk.
Barry's not like
Yeah.
I've never done battle. I just push people out of the way.
Mhm.
Barry
Oh,
also
he
is the
doesn't
first one to
save them.
point
He's
out.
just like running around near them.
So
Yeah.
also, hang on. Barry also is the first one to point out that, like, hey, we said we're doing this together, and now we're not doing it together.
Well, yeah, that part's good. I mean,
Also,
like,
they do
see-
re-edit his first step into that fight, which is like in the 2017
Mhm.
version. He gets freaked out and just pushes the thing. And in this, he's like, he dodges 4 times and slams the guy through a wall.
Yeah.
He's way more confident in this movie, and that's one of the biggest things that bothers me about the 2017 one.
Barry helps one woman get her sword back.
Yep.
He also, when they're escorting people out, once they get outside, a big explosion happens and a bunch of rubble is falling.
Yes.
And
That was awesome.
He super speeds all the fucking rubble out of the way, except he misses one, but Cyborg catches that last one.
Yeah.
I guess my
but
point
that-
is like for the other parts, he's like they're running out the stairs. He's like, "Come on, let's go." It's like, why not just take a person and run outside?
Because they're grown ass people, they can walk.
exactly.
Like it's just like I get that he's a
Yeah,
novice.
I know.
It's just like why is he like, "Come on, let's get out of here"? It's like why are both him and Cyborg doing this?
Well, but
It's
Yeah,
funny,
yeah.
Blue.
It is a moment where I maybe like the way that they're used in the 2017 version a little bit better. I think that there's a happy medium. They go a little silly in a lot of the 2017
There's
version.
no one telling us jokes.
Right.
I wish there were more jokes.
But I don't know if I necessarily like him just being like, "Come on, guys, move faster. You're a speedster. You could help them move faster. You could get them out of there." And
I
then
wanna
go
say-
back and help fight.
To counter that, we don't know the mechanics of
Yeah.
making somebody else go at super
Exactly.
We
speed.
don't know what we don't know what would
Exactly.
happen if Barry
They-
could grab a human being.
It's-
and
It's
speed
it's
for
not
sure.
Yeah,
like
they never
it's
established
not like
that.
in
Yeah.
It would be great
Days
if
of
they had
Future.
established that it was dangerous,
Well,
and then I would be like,
Well, he
"Okay,
just did.
well, that's
Remember, he
fine."
pushes the parademon into the wall and the fucks it up.
But then why
He
even
put-
have him help them? Like then
Yeah.
what's the point?
Why not just have him be fighting?
Well, he can supervise them to make sure nothing's falling on them, or
Yeah.
Yeah,
It-
he literally
it's really the
saves
fact
their,
that-
all their lives.
It's
Yeah.
the fact that he needs both him and Cyborg there, like
Yeah,
babysitting.
it should be one or the other, not both.
Well,
Yeah.
but again, like, but Barry goes right back to the fight, and that's when, like, that's when
Sure.
he sees Superman, Wonder Woman's sword. Which, in this version, like, granted, the context is most of the same, but just for some reason, this one seems like he's so proud of himself that he just did this like awesome thing with where he flicks Diana's sword back to her, and that's why he trips over his own feet. In the 2017 version, because of the way he's written, because of the way his dialogue is structured, because of the way he's acting before that, it looks like he trips because he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Well, it's because
Uh,
he's
so-
too busy
remember.
flopping his hands around. That's why he ends
So,
up tripping over his own feet.
Lou, if you're still here, do you want to do like a final thought? Lou
Yeah,
has to go, so
Yeah, just Father, it's better than the other version. I have a lot of problems with it. Most of my problems are just Snyder-isms still, and
Yeah.
problems carried over from the other films, in the universe in general.
the Dark Phoenix problem.
Yeah, which with Dark
Ooh.
Phoenix.
Well,
Both of them
the
are bad.
Dark Phoenix, the film titled Dark Phoenix, where
Yeah,
problems are all just stuff from other X.
yeah. So
I
like,
can see one. Wait, shit.
yeah, there's like, yeah, it's a better movie. It's fucking so long, but yeah, it's better. There are things like I wish, like I think I said in one of the things, like, it is so fucking well casted. And
Yes.
so like some of the chemistry is there, the casting is there. It's not the best written. The action scenes are good. The style is not my taste for these characters. And it's better than what we got in 2017.
Yeah.
I don't know where we go from here. I really hope this is just the end and the book is closed and we can all move forward. I have to sign off. So check out the other podcasts, comics, Now Comics. I think we're watching Alita Battle Angel. And then I'll leave you guys with this. Oh no, fucking commercials ruined my bit. Oh,
Good.
YouTube, you're the worst.
Good. I'm glad.
Oh,
YouTube Red.
Download Adblock.
no.
Download a new bit.
You should probably move.
Yep.
Wow.
All right. Goodbye.
So
Doesn't help
hilarious.
that we're only getting a snippet of it every second.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
somebody
Bit
save me.
I don't even know what the bit is.
Oh,
He's playing the
Smallville.
fucking Smallville theme.
Smallville theme.
Fuck Smallville.
Yeah. All right.
Somebody,
bye, guys.
somebody save me.
Yeah.
Or Smallville.
Yeah.
I just love
All right.
that.
Well, no, I think
stuff
we
with the
should
shirt. Yeah,
we
go
should
ahead.
start wrapping up.
Wrap
'cause I
this
know,
bitch
I know
up.
Hunter has to get up early too. So
Yeah.
final thoughts, roundtable. Let's go.
I'll
you
do.
first.
I'll do final thoughts. I guess if I have like a main problem with this movie is that it is still a work cut, a assembly cut, and that stuff is that's maybe like the thing that really stuck out to me the most. We've talked about it already, but there are so many sequences that could have been cut down,
Yeah.
and it felt like Zack just didn't want to do the work or something. Nobody wanted to do it. Nobody wanted to speed up scenes that were slowed down. But other than that, I gotta say I really enjoyed this movie, despite the fact that I was very ambivalent and I really did not want to see it. I wanted nothing to do with it, honestly, because I was just like, I'm not trying to dig up a 3-year-old corpse. That's how it felt to me. So I am satisfied by what we got out of this. I'm very happy that this happened. I would like to think that most of this is the last we'll ever see of it. That said, there are things in here that I actually didn't hate. There are things in here that, if they made their way into future films, if there ever is another crossover, that'd be cool. But if not, so be it. So yeah, that's sort of my final thoughts there.
Yeah.
I want to say, my biggest problems with the 2017 cut was how the relationship
existed.
between sure, but the relationship between Batman and Superman, and I feel like from the there's one line that I think is very vital in this that makes how Batman like sees Superman and like how his attitude going forward is early on with Alfred. He basically owns up to fucking up and he's like, I spent so much time trying to divide us, and now he's trying to like, you know, undo that mistake, bring like make up for him being kind of hard-headed or whatever in BVS. And yeah, all that stuff he says about faith and whatever, it's cool, it's tight. I think it's just like I love Batman's attitude in this movie. He also has some awesome lines that are really respectful, I think. When they first all meet Alfred, when he says, "This is Alfred, I work for him."
Yeah.
Excellent, great.
Yeah.
I love that Alfred is in these movies is much more of like a partner rather than rather than
butler.
it being like I don't have it. Hey Alfred, I don't have time to do this thing right now. Can you look this up for me or something like that? Alfred having tinkering around with Bruce's gauntlets. I love that scene with him and Diana, because it also gives precedent to him fucking surviving the laser blast
Yeah.
against Superman later on. The All in all, like I love that the flashback scene with all the different armies, and then Darkseid first shows up. You get such a much better look at the Lantern there, and it looks
Yeah.
fucking tight. He actually does fucking Lantern ass shit. And then I love seeing like the at one point, like I think you do see like the ring fly away in
You
the
do.
original.
Yeah,
You
but,
do.
Darkseid
It's-
almost
yeah.
gets it in this one.
Yeah, but yeah, who stopped? Is it Artemis or something?
It's
Yeah,
someone
I can't
interrupts
remember
him
if it gets
because
hit with an
he's
arrow.
Yeah.
about
It's hit with an arrow or
to grab the ring. Yeah.
Yeah, seeing the lantern fall and like the hand come off, and then seeing that more clearly was super cool.
Yeah.
The Ryan Choi shouts out. He gets he gets a few lines, but shout out, he's the second Adam if you don't know. He gets two smooth ass lines that he delivers. The first one I can't quite remember. But when he's like promoted at the end, is like head of nanotechnology or whatever, that's your thing. And he goes, "Yep, that is my thing," or says something
Yeah.
along those lines.
Yeah.
I like that. We moving forward, I'm really interested to see what this means for the rest of the universe. At this point, the movies that have come out since the 2017 cut, any references to Justice League were all pretty vague.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And to the point, like I feel like Shazam references stuff the most.
Yeah.
And all those are like really vague and still happen in like the Snyder cut. So there's not any like hard concrete like canon regarding which version of Justice League right now. I think we will see that in the
Yeah.
Flash movie.
Probably.
What they do with that there, because Ben Affleck's coming back. They've confirmed Ben Affleck is back.
Shit.
They've already cast they're bringing back Kiersey Clemons as Iris, who
Wow.
wasn't in the theatrical cut of
Yeah. She was cast though back when
Yeah.
Fuqua was Fukuyama.
Rick Famuyiwa.
Famuyiwa.
But like again, like they didn't have to have the same actress, and especially with having different people going through like 5 different directors at this point.
Yeah.
Seemed like Joss Whedon cut out a lot of scenes with black people in them.
Yes. There's and Asians. And
Yeah.
So I honestly would like to see more course correction going forward regarding what happens here, I guess, in terms of I have high hopes for the Flash movie. Okay. If your name is Walter Hamada, Jeff Johns, and Joss Whedon, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Jeff, if you're listening,
Yeah.
Jeff, if you're listening, you fucking made me.
I gotta say,
You
two of
fucking-
those names I agree with. The Hamada thing is kind of been disproven, but yes, I agree. Fuck Jeff Johns.
Jeff, if you're listening, you made me.
Wait, what?
What? We completely lost you at that end.
Oh, Jeff
You
Johns
made
got
me-
him.
You cut out at the very end there, Andy. Or did we lose Andy
Oh
completely?
no, Jeff Johns
Oh,
got
no.
to him.
Oh no.
It was Jeff Johns killed him.
Jeff John's behind with a bottle of fucking ethanol, just like
He left.
This one might have fucked up.
Jeff John's got him.
R.I.P. Jeff Johns.
He
I was
killed
gonna-
Jeff
can I say-
Johns.
Can
Hello.
I say a couple things real quick? Oh, okay. You back?
What were you gonna say about Jeff
You got
Johns?
cut out. Yeah.
Yeah, we completely lost you at the penultimate part of your speech.
Okay, Jeff Johns, you made me love Green Lantern. Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck you, dude. Hey Jeff.
Yeah.
Hey Jeff. Listen, I've always felt some sort of kinship to you because also being part Lebanese myself. I really love Simon Baz. Et cetera, et cetera. Fuck you. Suck my shit out my ass. Okay. Josh, everything's been said about you. You're fucking dunzo, dude.
Yep.
You just took the fucking biggest L ever.
Just stupid fat head.
The fact that Cyborg was apparently going to be a huge part of the Flash movie.
That still
and
might
is-
happen, by the way. We don't know.
Well,
We really don't
not
know.
with Ray Fisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They-
Yeah, we'll
Unless
see.
something crazy happens, but they have officially fired Ray Fisher from it
Mm.
because of
Yeah.
because he said I just on principle I cannot work with something that's like under Walter Hamada again. And that's a damn shame.
Yeah.
I hope we see
Yeah.
so much more of Ray Fisher in other things.
Yeah.
Because this is fucking his
hope
movie.
I hope he gets a role in a Marvel film.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Just
right.
to-
He
I
can
would love
be
that.
good. Like,
Maybe,
lot of
what is that? What is his name? The Canadian, the
know.
Alpha Flight guy who's like a robot. Box?
I
Is
don't
that
know.
it?
he doesn't have to be a robot
There's-
again. He could be like another character.
Yeah.
Well,
I
no,
hope
I
he-
think it would
him-
be funny if
make
he
him
was
talk.
the robot. I think it'd be funny
Yes.
if he was Deathlock. That would be hilarious to me.
Actually.
Oh.
Similar,
okay,
similar
okay.
design.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It'd be pretty great.
that'd be fucking hilarious.
But he could be
Who,
literally anyone. But yeah.
Go
I
ahead,
want-
Asa.
I
Did
want
you
to
want
say-
to give? Yeah. Yeah.
I
Oh,
have-
Andy, you
I have-
want to
Yeah.
talk?
So
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Isaiah, let me finish. Let me
Oh.
wrap up.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I am not really a fan of Zack Snyder. I think Dawn of the Dead rules. He didn't write
Yeah.
that, or he didn't write.
Yeah.
James Gunn mostly wrote it.
Yeah.
I think he is a good director, competent director, mostly good. Just I don't like his writing.
Yeah.
It's
Same.
too heavy-handed.
To be fair, he's never
Um,
written any of these movies. that is an important thing to point out. He's
Okay,
never,
interesting. Okay.
it's Goyer and the guy who wrote Argo.
Terrio.
His name is Terrio. So
Well then, yeah.
Young Terrio. Ooh, kill him.
and
Oh.
Joss
Also-
Whedon
also
wrote
one of
the
the
version that we
writers-
watched. He wrote some of what we watched because he was
Terrio
already
was-
doing rewrites.
I'm
Terrio
gonna
was also the
fucking-
writer of Rise of the Skywalker.
I'm gonna go kill some. Okay.
He wrote the version that had to be done in 7 months. But yes, he was on Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Okay, and I just want to say, I feel like Zack Snyder deserves this. People seem to like him generally, like the people who work with him and stuff. I may not
Yeah.
like, I may not agree with all his fucking philosophy or whatever.
I
but
vehemently disagree with his philosophies.
I'm very happy for him. It seems like this was a big deal. And just because other people how the main cast kind of rallied around the Snyder cut is very telling to me, and the fact that once the Snyder cut was just that was greenlit or whatever, that's when fucking Ben Affleck came back. He was like, so I feel like there's a lot to be said there about whatever. I mean, I like Watchmen. I feel like it's a good movie. It misses the point of Watchmen.
Yeah.
It's a great Watchmen movie on a superficial level. Sucker Punch is great to jerk your dick to. Dawn of the Dead rules right until the fucking very end credits. But yeah, I love this movie. Maybe Hunter, you didn't hear this. Maybe honestly, top 10 favorite comic book movies.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
All right, Izza,
Alright,
you had some stuff you wanted to add?
So to say, I really liked it. I enjoyed it. Not a perfect movie, but it's a good comic book movie. It's a solid action movie. I will say that this movie does have flaws, but at least it doesn't start with a cold open of Superman's weird lips.
Yeah.
That's legit. Like, how the fuck do you start a movie like that? Like,
Evergreen comedy material.
yeah. Also, what's something else I was gonna say? Fucking. Okay, so there's one little detail that like I noticed that like is way better in this. So okay, you know the part where Steppenwolf's fighting the Amazons, right? And
Yeah.
the one lady shoots an arrow at him and he catches it is really cool and badass.
Yeah.
In the original, he just smacks the arrow away, which is like a little lame. It's like
Huh.
why?
Yeah.
Like why would you change that? Like, I don't understand.
To supplement that, I just like that Diana's mom is like, "Hey Amazon, show them your fear," and they essentially just draw guns on him. Like it's the same feeling. Like they might as well have all drawn pistols. Like wrong neighborhood, motherfucker.
Back the fuck up. Yeah.
They're hoping he would lock the doors to his car.
God damn it.
This bitch is crazy.
I guess I'll go. I went into this expecting it to be an utter shit show, and some of that was because Zack Snyder is hit or miss for me, and also because I really got tired of the fan base that was clamoring
Yeah.
for this. Like they ruined.
I'm gonna address that in my thing. So, but continue.
Yeah, they ruined a lot of my interest in it, and
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. Like some of this went towards suicide prevention and all that whatnot, but it still felt a lot like people bullying people over this because there's a better version of you don't know what you're talking about. I'm 100% glad that this actually got to come out because it has actually changed my opinion to some extent about what I thought about DC's film output. Like, and I mean, I know this isn't going to automatically change everything, but I do feel like if the response is as genuine from people who were ambivalent about the movie like me to
Me
I
too,
actually
yeah.
enjoyed this. Yeah, like I think it could be a real sea change for DC, and they could realize that maybe they should give their directors / creators a little bit more control over where they want to go with things. That being
I do
said,
feel.
there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I do feel like there should be someone to like rein in some of the Snyder stuff. Like,
Yeah.
he needs someone
Oh,
to kind of like rein it in.
almost like our
Well,
Lord and Savior Kevin over
yeah.
at Marvel.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
almost.
so I mean,
Ing.
jumping off this is something that I said in one of the chats. It's just trusting your directors to know what they're doing. If you're gonna
Yeah.
put these people in charge of these multi-million-dollar movies, trust them to some
Yeah.
degree, and
Yeah,
then
keep your
come
fingers
in and
out of it.
Right? Yeah, you don't have to second guess yourself every fucking 2 months, and create something that nobody likes. Nobody is out there defending the theatrical cut of BVS. I know plenty of
Exactly.
people who really like the extended cut, but I know not a single fucking person who's ever told me that they like that version of the movie.
I've got a
And it's-
screenshot to show you.
But yeah, with everything positive being said, like I do still have some issues with a lot of the Snyderisms in this film.
Yeah.
But I, in some sense, I feel like he toned it down a little bit
He
and
did.
actually used them in the ways that they best work for the movie he was presenting to us, instead of just, all right, this is one of my movies. Oh, there's a whole bunch of Ayn Randyism. Here's some Christ imagery, and here's a bunch of slow mo. Like, after watching
He
this,
toned it down to Nietzscheism, which is
yeah, that's somewhat better. And he evolved from Leonard Cohen to Nick Cave. I am a little bit disappointed
Not
that
an
we're
evolution.
not. Murder Ballads is an all-time banger. How about you shut your mouth? I am kind
It's a
of
lateral
disappointed
evolution.
all right, I'll accept that.
Nick Cave is a better Joker than Jared Leto.
I am a little bit disappointed that we're not going to get to see where this was going to go, because I'm genuinely curious. I'm no longer morbidly curious on where this was going to go. I would have liked to have seen this come to its completion. Whether
Is
it
this
was
considered not canon?
It's gotta
I
be
don't.
not canon.
They have no. Snyder has already said this is not canon. This is just the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad he got to make what he did, but I also think there could have been a much better movie if he would have cut out like maybe half an hour, 45 minutes of this. Like I think there was a gem that's almost perfectly refined, and he didn't quite get there.
My problem, this movie is great, despite some of its flaws. But my problem with the DCU, like in general, DCEU, is like even though there are some good movies like Aquaman and like Birds of Prey are good, and like Shazam, it's still overall just like not fully connected and like cohesive as like a universe thing.
No,
like
it's
the Marvel
not.
stuff is.
It's not, because that was too much studio concern as opposed to letting them actually have a plan for what they're going to do for going forward to get to this point. But yeah,
like fact that like this is not canon is just a problem.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. Well, this is kind of a filmmaker getting to put his vision up, which as shocked as I am to say, like I'm glad to see it. And it's also him giving a middle finger to Warner Brothers. Like it's like, watch how good this is, fuck off. And
paying him to do it.
I'm shocked to say, like, I would actually watch this again, and not just out of curiosity. Like I would totally sit down for 4 hours and watch this.
If he gets to make a final cut, if he gets to make like a slightly edited,
release the final cut.
Well, no, just
release
like a refined, a refined cut.
No.
I would watch again. I am not watching 4 hours of this. No.
I can't say I was bored during any of this movie.
I'll be honest. There's some parts that are kind of boring, but like it's not like I'm gonna turn this movie off bored. It's like
I was never bored, but I watched this over the course of 3 days, and I played a lot of Gorn in between. VR game for those that don't know.
Well, that's some ADD problems there.
That's not you.
Yeah.
Okay. I have. So I'll go because I just want to get to the way so I can hop off.
I'm intending on going last. I have a bunch of stuff I want to say.
Yeah.
No, I wanted you to go last. So
I like this movie a lot. I think it's good. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, this is bad. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Because I don't like certain parts of it. That being said, I kind of don't want a sequel because like I don't know.
No.
I don't know how I feel about making more of this. That's just me personally. Like right now, like tomorrow, that could probably change. It might, but I don't know. The more and more I think about the movie, the more I kind of like it, and I think I'm glad that this came out because I got to see what he actually wanted to make, and it wasn't awful.
Yeah, no, Hunter, like on your point saying like you don't want to see a sequel, like I don't at this point. I'm just more curious to see what would have happened if he would have gotten to do his planned trilogy of Justice League films. And yeah, I mean, I finished this movie, the second half of it, at about like 4 o'clock today, and I've had many hours to sit on it. And yeah, I think I'm coming around to like I really enjoyed it actually. All right.
Yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got.
Okay. So my investment regarding the moral fiber version and just being after processing it, I was like, I'm so fucking bored and none of this is landing for me. So my thing with this was always like, I just want to see what the man had to do. Like, I wanted to give him a fair chance at like seeing what his full vision was, because that was the most important thing to me. And then once the information was compounded with the family tragedy and the fact that he was fired afterwards, I immediately rallied behind the filmmaker, because to me, the art is always going to trump the corporate side of things, because to me, those people are just flat out evil. So to see this come out, to see it kind of embraced by so many people, and to hear people who were cynical on it come around to it, has kind of been almost as thrilling as I found the movie to be. To see everyone rally around this dude like this, and to have his cast love him so much. As far as the movie goes, I really, really fucking liked it. And then as it was finishing up, I was like, this is like the biggest fucking DC movie. Like, it's dripping with DC shit. You go to Atlantis, you go to Themyscira, you see Apocalypse, Desaad is
Granny
there.
Goodness.
Granny Goodness is there. Ryan Choi, vocal. There's so many fucking characters in this movie. There's so many locations.
What's the one cop guy who becomes the stranger or whatever the fuck?
Oh shit! I can't remember.
Vic Sage.
Yes, he's in it too. There's more than I don't even and like I do appreciate the idea, even if like you said, it's an assembly cut, it's got pacing problems, but I do really appreciate Raw. It's like he's like, you wanted everything, so here is fucking everything. This is everything I shot. This is everything I did. This is everything. This is my complete and unfiltered, uncompromised vision. And I think in that regard, it's beautiful and inspiring because it is grand and ambitious, and at times it feels kind of like he's emulating cool like epic fantasy films, and then it becomes like a superhero movie. But then it's also like it's a Greek tragedy. It's so many different things all at once, like from a genre perspective, and it's so many different things from a just production perspective. And so to me, the whole thing has been kind of an adventure. And I do want to say, like, the fact that half of this was supported by like harassment and death threats is fucking pathetic. I really hate that it had to be that way, but I choose not to shine a light in that direction because I don't fucking deserve it. And I'm pretty sure Snyder disavowed the fandom menace, I think, in a stream recently, something which is like a big group of like vocal Snyder cut supporters. Yeah. He was like, those people are pieces of shit.
And I just want to interject here. I like that because it's a correction of a previous thing that he said, which is there was a point where he denied that had ever happened, that anybody was being abusive, and the acknowledgement that there were people who were doing the Gamergate shit and the actress who played Rose in Last Jedi shit, the way that people went after her. That acknowledgement from him just goes a long way. It shows a level of self-awareness and emotional intelligence that I actually really respected.
Yeah, but to me, like the thing that sealed this for me, like all the way around, was when the credits started rolling and it said for autumn. Then like this whole movie, a new piece of grit, like the weight changed entirely. Because now I was like, this isn't like, it's not even like the guy got to finish his movie. Like the guy finished his movie that he really cared about, that he invested so much fucking time in, and then used it to immortalize his lost kid. And I was like, this is the fucking best fucking movie I've ever seen because it means so fucking much. Like so many different people for so many different fucking reasons. And like, so and then people point out in the movie, I guess there's like billboards that like anti-suicide, like suicide prevention stuff and all kinds of other stuff. And there's dialogue that has more meaning to it now. And that crystallized the whole thing as just this like super positive adventure that had this like really wholesome outcome that were this by all accounts, well-meaning guy got to do a thing that meant a lot to him, and then people rallied around him, and the whole thing is just gorgeous, and I love it. And that's kind of my big takeaway from the whole experience. So that was a lot, but I know I had lots of very complicated emotions, the whole thing.
Yeah. So unless anybody else has anything else to add, this has been our coverage of...
something.
Oh yeah, what would you like to add, Andy?
I would just like to say, we mentioned the detective that was with Gordon in that scene. Is Crispus Allen, who is at one point Renee Montoya's partner, and he also becomes a Spectre.
Oh shit! Oh, that was, I forgot. Yeah, there was a different Spectre later on. I forget what the event was, but yeah, no, you're 100% right.
The first guy was like Jim Corrigan, and then it was Crispus Allen, and then it was Hal.
Yeah.
Also, thank you, Andy, for backing up like my idea of like this being a ridiculous DC movie, because we didn't even talk about the fact that J.K. Simmons is in this as Gordon, because it's
I was gonna mention it, but
full of these fucking characters,
But it's just it's so there and gone. Like,
can I put out one funny thing? Sorry. One funny thing. You know how like what's his name? Willem Dafoe's in this. He's really in like 2 minutes or whatever. There's one scene where like it shows the Atlanteans kind of just reacting, like looking up. Willem Dafoe's like really good just in that one scene of not even like talking. I think that guy acting was just like a look, like
because I think he's been acting like all his life. I don't know. Hashtag my Volko wears a man bun, and I will accept no
Yeah.
other version of Volko.
Willem
Volko
Dafoe
with
looks
the man
weird
bun
with
forever.
long hair. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really strange. Man buns only. Yeah, that's my
All right,
final
so-
thought. Final thought. Let's get
Anybody
outta
else
here.
have anything else they want to throw in there, or can we close this out?
I just want to say, mother, mother.
Fuck the world.
Nice. All right.
I
Well,
want to see Scott Free, Mr. Miracle.
Yes.
I
wanna see
can I
him
just say this?
bright
This is
primary
not.
colors.
Can I just say one thing? I feel like I really want. I mean, if the DCEU continues, I really want to see the underwater swamp fucking Legion of Doom thing, and have fucking Black
Yes.
Manta, Zoom, like all the fucking hit villains just in there, like fucking.
Yes.
It'd be great.
Yeah, the
that'd be
giant
cool,
like
yeah.
weird face coming out of the swamp.
Yeah, I want to see that. Like, just go for it. Like, embrace that like weird comic book shit, and just put that fucking big ass face in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cutting it off now. All right. This
Yeah.
has been our coverage of the Justice League
One more
Snyder
thing.
cut. No,
Yeah.
no more.
And
We're done.
A little slow-mo bit.
I have been your host, Eric Fedorchuk. You can find me at Eric_Fedor. There's pictures of dogs and food and cats and comics on there. Floating around the Phantom Zone. If you guys want to come check that out, it's a place that people talk about things generally related to comics. Outside of that, you can also find me at my burner Instagram account, which is young_Kame.
I hate you.
And there will be pictures of Moon Knight and things of me kneeling down and smiling awkwardly. Pictures of me talking about my fat dog. And if you just want to send me any
I love
B-star porn you can find, I will
Yeah.
gladly accept
Keep
it.
it coming. I love it.
So just keep it coming. I want to
I
see
love
that rabbit
Lugosi.
getting.
I
I want
love
to see that rabbit getting filled up by that wolf.
Stop this.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Inflated, big and round.
You should probably leave.
All right, who's next with their outro and plugs?
I'm Connor McGraw. I'm keeping my plug short because I made myself sad. So I have enjoyed this. I have enjoyed this episode a lot, though. So yeah.
Okay.
All right, Lost Horror Podcast. There may be a top 10 movies of 2020, which will be very weird. So look forward to that episode when it happens and comes out. And we'll be returning to Bond as soon as certain things happen. So yeah, look forward to that, and that's my plugs.
I'm Andy Seitz. You can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at AndySeitz117. I don't have anything to promote except there's a GoFundMe for our dear friend Isaiah right here. He has hit some hard times. If you could help and share and donate in any way, that'd be incredibly appreciated. I am like tweeting those links out all the time. So you can find it in my bio on Instagram and my pinned tweet on Twitter. Twitter.
It will be in the description of
I'm
this
on the
episode as well.
Twitter.
The Italian version of Twitter.
It's at Andy Seitz 117. ANDYSITZ117. Thank you. Have a good night.
I'd also like to add that I'm trying to get Zach Fox to come and just sing "Jesus Is the One" for his anytime he wants to hear it. Because if you got depression, you should just go stick your dick in some Long Island dressing.
I also got eczema, so that's not helping. But
yeah, that's bad right now, man. I get you.
Yeah. I recommend buy some Dead Sea salt. That shit actually fucking helps. I'm gonna go fucking take a bath in that
But
shit.
don't get the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
What are we doing now? What's
Sorry.
going on?
We're talking about old man problems when you have fucking skin conditions. Oh.
Yeah, man.
I've been Hunter Davenport. Don't follow me on social media. Definitely keep sending me Beastars porn.
Yes.
What else? Go donate, share Isaiah's GoFundMe. Also, I'm working on a thing that should be out. What is today? 21st. I'm looking at the first week of April, hopefully, maybe. So look out for that. That'd be cool.
Outside of that, you can listen to Hunter cranking it like a mechanic. Looking at Beastars.
Yeah, dude.
I just warn everybody that is not the return of Monster Mash.
It's
That
not.
will be
Not.
that will
but-
happen someday.
But I will say, if you were a fan of another show I used to do, you'll like it. So
That 80s show.
Yeah.
yeah, that is.
With all of this long and rambling exit, hope everybody had a good time, and bye everybody.
Bye.